This quick two-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays. The field level action cam is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy S8. Unbox your phone. The Rays have been tough on Estrada so far this year. They're generally tough on the Blue Jays year after year. The two teams 5-5 against one another this season. A look at the Tampa Bay lineup in this game tonight, including Evan Longoria, who's played literally a season's worth of games against the Blue Jays. 24 homers, 99 RBIs in 162 games. And former Blue Jay Colby Rasmus is hot, 5 for 13, couple of homers in his last 4 games.
Marco Estrada will take the mound for the Blue Jays tonight, and that's a lineup he's going to try to handle tonight. He's had a tough time with Tampa Bay. He's lost each of his 2 starts versus the Rays this season. He's allowed 10 runs and 5 homers in just 11 innings against Tampa Bay. And he's 0-5 over his last 5 starts since the start of 2016. So he might have to try something different tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some curveballs in the first inning, and the first inning has been a challenge for him this season.
Defensively behind Estrada tonight, Carrera, Pilar, Bautista left to right of the outfield. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Ryan Goins at second for the injured Devin Travis, Justin Smoke at first, and Russell Martin behind the plate.
Well, Russell Martin has had a pretty good season behind the plate, but he's not had much help in cutting down the running game. His pitchers haven't really given too many shots to throw out guys. He's caught just 4 of 28 this season, and it's going to be a challenge for him right off the bat because the leadoff hitter, Mallex Smith, is 7 for 7. He's feeling in for Kevin Kiermaier, and Smith can really run.
And here is Smith to lead it off. He'll be followed by Dickerson and Longoria. Tampa Bay 2 games over 500, 34-32. The Blue Jays 1 game under, 31-32. The Blue Jays trying to get to the 500 mark for the first time this season. Smith a threat to bunt, great speed as Buck mentioned, and underway with the first pitch fastball in there with the knees. Nice crowd here on a very warm Tuesday night. The roof peeled back at Rogers Center. There's a changeup, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, Marco's got a great changeup, and you can see Mallex Smith, he wears 0. There was a Blue Jay that wore number 0 back in the day, 1985. Al Oliver, Scoop, wore 0.
In the dirt, ball 1. Are your ears still ringing from the atmosphere at Safeco Field over the weekend?
Absolutely. What a great atmosphere that is. It's much like a home game for the Blue Jays whenever they play out west.
Blue Jays taking the last 2 games of that series, winding up the road trip 3-3. Fastball just outside, says home plate umpire Ryan Blakeney. Estrada, well documented first inning problems, 11 earned runs allowed in 13 first innings this year. There's a beautiful changeup, and he strikes out Smith.
Well, that has been the problem for Marco, is the location on his changeup, especially to this Tampa Bay's team. So that last pitch to Mallex Smith, a very important pitch. There you see the changeup grip. He spins it like a 4-seam fastball, and he locates it perfectly with 2 strikes. Of course, hitters are really aware of the changeup, but when Marco throws it there, they're not going to do much with it.
2 starts for Estrada against the Rays this year. Total of 11 innings. He's given up 10 runs, and he surrendered 5 home runs in those 2 games. Here's Corey Dickerson. There's a curveball. You were talking about it, and Dickerson a good guy to try it out against because he is having a heck of a year. 328, 14 homers, and the American League leader with 36 extra base hits.
He has really revamped his game, and this is basically the type of hitter he was in high school and college. He said there for a while he was injured with Colorado. He had a plantar fasciitis and his legs just weren't underneath him. And he says, now that I'm healthy, I can trust my ability to get extra base hits to both alleys, left center and right center. I'm running well again, so I don't have to worry about hitting the ball so hard. I can concentrate more on hitting line drives, and eventually those line drives will start to leave the ballpark.
Maybe something that's underestimated. You're not just either healthy or hurt. You can play with an injury, and although the public may not know what it is, it impacts your ability to play the game.
Yeah, and plantar fasciitis is very painful. It's tissue at the back of your heel, and it tears, and it's a burning sensation, and he just couldn't run.
Changeup lined into center field and down for a base hit. Pilar will cut it off. Dickerson a big turn, but back to first with a 1-out single.
Corey Dickerson is always thinking about two. Every time he hits the ball, he's thinking about extra bases. That's why he has so many extra base hits. But against Marco Estrada, he spreads out and just uses basically a two-strike approach, and that's why he's able to hit that ball, even though it was a good pitch in a good location. And there you see the aggressiveness as he makes a big wide turn around first.
Tampa Bay's a pretty good offensive team. They're in the upper half of the American League in most categories, especially home runs. They have a lot of power from Dickerson on down in the lineup. Evan Longoria, of course, has power. Hit 36 home runs a year ago, only 9 so far this year, but he's been hot lately, hitting .341 in his last 11 games. And anybody who's watched the Rays play over the last decade or so knows what a talented ball player he has been.
It's interesting, too. He's facing his college teammate in Marco Estrada with his infield partner Troy Tulowitzki at short. They all played at Long Beach State.
Pretty good bunch of dirtbags, wouldn't you say?
A good bunch of dirtbags, man. And both Longoria and Marco came from junior college programs, but Tulowitzki played shortstop, Longoria played third, and Marco pitched just for one season on that Long Beach State team. Mike Weathers was their coach, and he had a terrific career coaching there in California.
Fastball up and in, and drops Longoria to the seat of his pants.
Say, old teammates, they don't even care. If you're going to hit me, I'm going to try to make you uncomfortable. Ran it up and in on Longoria, trying to protect that changeup down and away. This fastball maybe a little bit closer to Longoria than Marco wanted it, but served its purpose.
Dickerson aboard after the 1-out single. 1-2 the count on Longoria. And there's the high fastball again, and Longoria fouls it back.
And that's why he fouls it back with 2 strikes. Of course, he's got that changeup in the back of his mind, and even though it's 91, kind of a pedestrian fastball in this day and age, that Longoria was a little bit late on it.
Change-up, weakly hit to third. Donaldson, long throw in time. Good play to get him. Dickerson to second, 2 down.
A terrific play. Donaldson, as well as he's been swinging the bat, has played great defense, and Smoke over at first did a nice job of stretching and staying inside the baseline. Donaldson had but one play. He's got to field it and throw basically all in one motion. Gets enough on the throw, and watch Smoke. He stretches, but he stretches parallel to the baseline so he doesn't get in the way of Longoria. Donaldson throws very accurately, and Smoke did a nice job on that stretch.
Good play on both ends for the second out of the inning. And here's Logan Morrison, the cleanup hitter for the Rays, hitting .234. Got a lot of power, though. 17 home runs on the season already, among American League leaders. The Rays are tied for second in the league in home runs with 99 already on the season. And Buck, they've hit 48 homers in their last 25 games.
Yeah, and they are a powerful team. They'll strike out a lot, but that doesn't seem to concern Kevin Cash, the manager. And Morrison has 2 career home runs against Estrada.
Up and in with a cut fastball there, ball 2.
Yeah, he's trying to crowd him with that cut fastball like so many powerful hitters. Morrison likes the ball out over the plate, likes to extend those long arms and really get that barrel through the zone with a lot of extension. So Marco's trying to neutralize that.
The Rays come in hot. They have won 5 of their last 6. 2 games over 500, as we mentioned. Just missed. Pretty good looking pitch there over the outside edge, but it's called ball 3. And Martin, you can see discreetly turning to his right, pretending like he's cleaning some dirt away, but he's actually talking to the home plate umpire there, just trying to maybe plead his case and get a call in the future.
Yeah, they're having a little conversation back behind home plate. Just give that a little look. Marco needs the corners. Talked him into it. Attaboy, Russell.
Part of a catcher's job is being a politician, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe the most important part of his job.
Yep. 3-1 as Morrison thinks it over. Again, Estrada, trouble in the first inning in a number of starts this year, trying to get out of this one unscathed. Runner going, throw down, got him. Dickerson trying to steal third with 2 down, with the Blue Jays in somewhat of a shift. Donaldson well off the bag, but Donaldson gets back in time. Martin throws him out, and Estrada walks off the field without any damage done. At Rogers Center, John Gibbons and the Blue Jays, they don't give up anything in the top of the first as Russell Martin throws out a runner at third to end the inning. And the Blue Jays, fresh off a couple of wins in the last 2 games in Seattle. Here's the way that they line up here tonight, including, as Buck talked about off the top of the show, a red-hot Josh Donaldson. 5 extra base hits and 10 hits in all in his last 7 games. And Kendrys Morales, 10 RBIs in 10 games against the Rays this year.
Blue Jays lineup is going to get a look at a new pitcher. They have not faced him in the past. Jacob Faria, 11 starts in AAA Durham. He's made 1 start here in the big leagues, and he won that game 6-1. He's always been a guy that hasn't given up many hits. Look at the opponent's batting average, 232 for righties and under 200 left-handers.
Kevin Pillar leads it off, takes it right down the middle for a strike. Pillar, Donaldson, Bautista. Pillar, a couple of hits, both doubles Sunday in Seattle. 266, 8 home runs on the year. Pops it up. And it'll be Smith coming in from center field to make the catch. 1 down. A chance to take a look now at the Rays defense behind Jake Faria tonight. And Smith's the guy you want to focus on.
Mallex Smith has terrific speed, and he was acquired in January in a trade from Seattle. And with the loss of Kevin Kiermaier, the Rays are covered with Smith. He's got great speed. He's got some information on the defense, how he's going to play them. And he really brings an added dimension to this team. So as tough as it is to lose Kevin Kiermaier, they have a very competent replacement in Mallex Smith.
Kiermaier out perhaps 2 months with a hip injury. Josh Donaldson, the batter for the Blue Jays, takes down an in ball 1. Donaldson 6 home runs in his last 11 games, hitting well over 300, big hits, driving in runs, and hasn't missed a beat since he's come back off the DL. And every cut looks dangerous from Donaldson right now.
Yeah, you know, Josh had a great playoff series last year in the American League Championship Series against Cleveland. He hit the ball very well. And he said, when I went home, I felt good about my swing. So I didn't have to think much about it when I came back to the spring. And he hit 300 before he got hurt. He's hit 300 after he's returned. He said the swing started back in 2012. After the 11th season, I started to think about my swing, and I wanted to change it. I wanted to use all these leg kicks, and he said it's an ever-evolving process. But now it's at a spot where I know I can repeat it every single swing, much like a pitcher hitting his release point.
So Donaldson did not get to the big leagues until he was 24, was not a regular until he was 26, became a star at 27. For a player of his caliber, is it accurate to say he was kind of a late bloomer?
Yeah, very, very much so. He was a position change. He became a third baseman after spending some time as a catcher, but he played third base in college.
Laced to short and caught by Daniel Robertson for out number 2.
Well, Josh had 3 hits and 3 RBIs on Sunday, the 12th time he's put together those numbers as a Blue Jay, and Daniel Robertson standing right in the right spot. Watch how he moves to his left very quickly and spears that liner. That thing was hooking and actually hooked back over his shoulder. But as we mentioned, everything Donaldson is swinging at now, he barrels up. Another line drive, this time right to the shortstop.
2 down for Jose Bautista, who takes a slider down in the dirt for ball 1. Bautista at 230, 11 home runs on the season. No score, bottom of the first here at Rogers Center. Quick 2-game series between the Jays and Rays. Some divisional play here for the Blue Jays. Day off Thursday, then the White Sox come to town over the weekend. Interesting schedule coming up. You look a couple of weeks ahead, and all of a sudden it's Orioles, Red Sox, Yankees, Astros heading into the All-Star break. Next couple of weeks before that stretch, good time for John Gibbons' team to try to get over the 500 mark.
Tampa Bay, Chicago, Texas, and Kansas City. So you don't want to take anybody lightly, but it certainly looks like the Blue Jays could finally move up over 500 in the next couple of weeks.
Slider down and away. Bautista chases, and that'll be all as Jake Faria, in his second big league start, gets the Blue Jays in order here in the first.
It's Marco Estrada against Logan Morrison again. The last time they had a full at-bat was back on May 6th, and it was Morrison who had a field day. A home run, a double, both off Estrada changeups. I spoke with Morrison, who said, I wasn't sitting on the changeups. I actually pulled the first one foul. Then when Estrada doubled up on it, I saw it go up a little bit. Well, then that's when I went to work. Morrison said he stayed behind it enough to get extra bases on the home run. Fastball in, back to changeup away, which he crushed. Morrison told me this: you just tell yourself to get the heater downish around the belt. He paused and said, even against a changeup pitcher, it's still all based off the fastball.
And that fastball for Estrada around 90 miles per hour. And Morrison, of course, he had a look at Estrada in the first inning. He was up and fairly deep into the count when Dickerson was thrown out at third to end the inning. So he'll start with a fresh count, but he'll get to see even more pitches from Estrada here in the second.
Yeah, it was really interesting when Morrison came up to the plate. He was talking to Russell Martin, and you can imagine what he was saying. Hey, I can't understand why that guy got thrown out at third. And especially the way that Arash explained Morrison's success against Estrada. Yep. Down in St. Pete.
And again, that situation was Morrison up, left-handed batter, Donaldson well off the line. Estrada maybe not keeping close tabs on a runner at second with 2 down. So Dickerson thinks maybe I can sneak a bag over there at third, but a good play on both ends. Not a play you see all that often. Donaldson coming over, taking the throw on the run, and Martin putting the ball back right where you would want to see it.
Yeah, he kind of led him like a quarterback would lead a wide receiver, and he took Donaldson right to the bag and got him in position to put the tag on Corey Dickerson. Well, you mentioned Dickerson's thinking maybe I can steal one. You can't have maybes in those situations. You got to be 100% certain you can steal it. And it was an opportunity for Tampa Bay to jump out on top.
And if Morrison gets a base hit here, although you can't retrace the play and assume it would be the same, first thing Kevin Cash will think is, man, that would have been a run. Still the youngest manager in the big leagues, I believe, right? Kevin Cash?
Yeah, he's done a nice job and certainly has prepared himself well for this position.
And a full count now on Morrison.
Kevin was a young catcher in the Blue Jays organization when I was managing, and I thought he was going to be a very good everyday player, but never really blossomed the way we thought he might. But he's one of those guys that's played in the Little League World Series, the College World Series, and the Big World Series.
They should call it that, the Big World Series.
It is the Big World Series.
In the air to left. Carrera going back and makes the catch. Edge of the track, one down. Steven Souza Jr. now. Again, a lot of power in this lineup. Souza's got 11 home runs and just over 200 at bats on the season, and he's hurt the Blue Jays this year. He swung the bat well against them.
Yeah, he sure has, and he's also had a couple of incidents with the Blue Jays, and one was a hard slide into Tulowitzki at second base, and that led to some retaliation. He got hit by a pitch, then Bautista gets one thrown behind him, and all that stuff's kind of settled down a bit now.
Hits one right off the end of the bat into right field. Nothing Bautista could do with that, and that's a base hit for Souza.
Well, every hit is not a line drive, that's for sure. This was a cut fastball. He hit it off the end of the bat. Just got enough of it. You can see the spin on that fastball trying to take it off the barrel. He hits it right on the end of the bat, drops it in front of Bautista for a base hit. The super slow-mo replay is powered by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
One out base hit for Souza here in the second, and a familiar face, former Blue Jay Colby Rasmus comes up, a Blue Jay from 2011 through 2014. Another guy, as Jays fans well know, with some power. He's got 9 home runs on the year. He's going to show bunt, try to push it up the third baseline again with Donaldson well off the line, but he pushes it foul.
Yeah, pretty good idea right in that situation, and he knows he had a base hit had he kept it fair. So you can see they were talking about that before. Chad Mottola, the hitting coach, Tom Foley, the bench coach, and Kevin Cash, they all got smiles on their face because they must have been talking about that before. And if Colby drops one down, he'll get himself a hit, no problem, but he couldn't keep it fair.
Donaldson still well back, maybe a little bit closer to third base now, but element of surprise is gone, so you wouldn't imagine Rasmus would try it again. Now Donaldson comes in 4 or 5 steps, and Rasmus hooks one into right field, a base hit. Souza to second will put the brakes on there.
Another soft line drive, this one in front of Bautista as well, and Rasmus just waited back, used one hand basically. Watch how he hits this changeup as he just stays on it. Another pretty good pitch down and away, and he just extends right through that swing and drives it into right field. No stride whatsoever, just making sure he uses his hands to get to that changeup.
This is where sometimes players will say, you know, the game's not fair. Donaldson hit one about 1,000,000 miles an hour, but hit it right at the shortstop Robertson, and now Rasmus and Souza, each with hits, soft contact off the end of the bat for a base hit. And it brings up Robertson, the shortstop, and he looks at a strike. Robertson, former first-round pick of the Oakland A's back in 2012. And it is still draft time. The baseball draft runs over 3 days, I believe. Right? So the first 2 rounds last night. A lot of action today. The Blue Jays, among those they picked today, Casey Clemens, the third of 4 of Roger Clemens' sons. Clemens, a first baseman out of the University of Texas.
Switch hitter. Pretty interesting. And obviously Roger came out of University of Texas as well after starting at a junior college. And they're getting quite a list of former players' sons in the organization.
They got a Biggio and a Bichette and a Guerrero. Curveball outside, 2-2. Of the first 11 picks that the Blue Jays have made this year, 10 of them are college players. It doesn't mean necessarily they'll be better, but it means in all likelihood they are closer to getting to the big leagues. Obviously, they're generally 3 or 4 years older, probably start at a higher level in the minors.
Yeah, it's obviously in an effort to restock the minor leagues. You want to get more polished players, and obviously when they're pitching in college, you have a better idea what they might turn out to be as professional players.
Changeup weakly hit toward third, and Donaldson can't come up with it cleanly. The bases are loaded.
Well, you're right. You talk about baseball as a cruel game. None of those 3 hits have been hit hard, and they have the bases loaded and 1 out. That one fooled Robertson. He just barely got a piece of it, and it was so softly hit it didn't bounce up for Donaldson. Little chopper toward third. Josh reaches for it, kind of stays down and goes off the end of his glove.
And still waiting for the scoring on the play, whether it's a hit or an error. Either way, the bases are loaded with just 1 out. And the batter will be the catcher, Derek Norris.
I think you've got to give a hit on that. He's playing back with 2 strikes, and it is indeed a base hit for Robertson.
So Estrada in a jam, even though he's making good pitches. Soft contact here from the Rays. And here's Norris, low average, but another guy with some power, 7 home runs. Estrada, guy who even when he's going well, as you well know, Buck, there are more balls in the air than on the ground. Just the kind of repertoire that he has lends itself to fly balls, but wouldn't he love a ground ball right at an infielder here and a chance to turn 2 and get out of it?
Yeah, it's very difficult for him to get those ground balls. Certainly doesn't have that sinker of Sanchez or Stroman.
Just low, and it's a ball and a strike.
Marco to Norris might want to use that fastball a little bit more, because Norris is a very good off-speed hitter. And didn't hit much for average, but if you have a fastball, you can run it in on his hands and get some weak contact more often than not.
Hard contact, but foul.
That was a changeup, and it was up again. But Norris is a much better off-speed hitter than he is a fastball hitter. Watch how he waits back, and watch how high this pitch is. That's a high changeup, and he hit it hard. Fortunately for the Jays, it was foul. And fortunately for Souza, it was a little bit high.
Yes. So a 1-2 count with the Rays threatening here in the second. Curveball, ground ball to short, to second, 1 to first, double play, and that'll end the inning. Estrada does get that ground ball to Lewitzki, to Goins, to Smoke. And again, he walks off the field unscathed after making the pitch he needed to get out of the inning on this 6-4-3 double play.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. At the Checkered Flag event, you'll measure your heart rate in RPMs.
Beautiful night in Toronto, bottom of the second inning. No score between the Rays and the Blue Jays. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Arash Madani, glad you're along with us tonight. Marco Estrada, a big pitch, getting a double play ball as the Rays leave a couple of men on in the top half of the inning. And Estrada thanking Goins, thanking Tulowitzki. Just like a quarterback's got to make friends with his lineman, a pitcher wants to take care of his defense.
Especially up the middle. That double play combination, invaluable.
Kendrys Morales leads it off against rookie Jake Faria, making just his second big league start. Morales, a productive 12 homers, 34 runs driven in so far on the season. They play him to pull, not quite a full shift. Shortstop Robertson still on the left side of the bag as that breaking ball slips out of the hand of Faria. Jake Faria, 23 years of age, a 10th round pick in 2011 by the Rays, and he made his major league debut last week, 6 years to the day that he was drafted. It's a pretty good changeup right there. It's going to be a long throw, but off the glove. Morrison just can squeeze it, and the error allows Morales to reach.
Second error of the season on the first baseman, and Kevin Cash's team has played fairly well defensively, but that's a routine ground ball out because Morales just doesn't run well. And even though they were out in the outfield when they made the throw, this is a routine 4-3 ground out in the shift. You can see the throw from Featherston, and Morrison just dropped it.
So the Blue Jays catch a break and they take advantage of it. Leadoff man aboard, and about as hot a hitter as there is in baseball these days, Justin Smoak at the plate. John Gibbons saying before the game when asked about why do you think Smoak is different right now, and you talked about it, not chasing breaking balls out of the zone, using the whole field more, so letting the ball travel, getting a better look at it, and knows that if he hits he's going to play every day right now. Pierce on the DL, of course, Encarnacion gone, so the job is Smoak's. And Gibby was kind of musing about Smoak being in the home run derby this year. And first things first, got to get to the All-Star game. But boy, he looks like that's a great shot to happen. Right?
Yeah, and you know what? You Blue Jay fans out there got to get online and start to vote for Smoak. He's not even in the top 5 among first basemen, so you've got to start logging on and get him to that All-Star game. He is certainly worthy.
Aaron Judge is the major league leader in home runs with 22, and Justin Smoak is tied for second.
Some unlikely names on that home run leaderboard. We saw Scott Schebler here when he had 16 home runs. Joey Votto's having a terrific season, and he finished up so strong last year. He just carried it right into this season. But there's Smoak, tied for second.
2-2.
Smoak over his last 16 games has 8 home runs and 14 RBIs. I mean, he's been really consistent most of the season once he got it going, and there's the numbers for June.
And good movement on that pitch away from Smoak. And Faria has his second strikeout of the night. Huge strikeout numbers for Faria at AAA this year.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, that's just not being familiar with the pitch. And this is his changeup. It's a split grip, but they call it a changeup. And you can see the dramatic movement it takes off the plate. And it doesn't move like a splitter tumbles down. It kind of breaks away. But it's a very effective off-speed pitch, and you can bet that's how he racked up a lot of those strikeouts in the minors.
84 strikeouts in 58 2/3 innings at AAA Durham. Troy Tulowitzki gets his first look at Faria right now. Tulo in a bit of a spell. One for his last 17. Was one of the Blue Jays out very early today, taking some early BP. Also was taking some ground balls early today. Long before the entire team came out to stretch. We're talking like 2:30 in the afternoon.
After a day off, everybody wants to come back and get into the groove. So Tulo and Kevin Pillar came out and hit early.
Well, maybe the brakes will even out a little bit. Blooped into right. That's a base hit. Morales up to second on the single by Tulowitzki.
That's how the Rays got their hits, off contact, and they hit a couple of balls into right, had a swinging bunt up the third baseline. Now the Blue Jays are taking a page out of their book. This is a fastball. You can see that four-seam spin. Tulo gets jammed, but because of the shift and the fact they're playing him to pull, he's able to fight it off and get a base hit.
So the Jays with 2 men on, 1 out. And the batter is Russell Martin, hitting .218 on the season, coming off an 0 for 13 road trip, right on the heels of a 9 for 20 homestand. And that's kind of been the way it's been for Russell this year. The numbers way higher at home than they've been on the road all season long.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting that he would hit so well here at Rogers Center and then go on a road trip and draw an 0 for.
Some changes tonight in the coaching boxes for the Blue Jays. Tim Leeper's moved over to third. Derek Shelton is at first. One of Luis Rivera's children is graduating tonight, so we congratulate Luis on that. He is away from the team tonight.
Leeper has coached third base an awful lot, so he's not a novice over there by any means.
The 1-1. And a ground ball hit to second. Long backhanded flip for one and on to first in time as the Rays turn a double play, just like the Blue Jays did in the top half of the inning. And we're at the end of 2. Still no score.
In the second inning, he watched the MLB draft last night. Said he can't believe it was 12 years ago he went in the first round to Colorado. His advice for top picks: don't worry about expectations people put on you. You're going to be the player you're going to be, but have no regrets. Do everything with purpose and passion. As for this Blue Jays team, Tulowitzki knows the importance of the division games, but he told me, look, they're definitely meaningful, but not do or die yet. Tulo said you can't put too much pressure on yourself because it's an AL East game, but added, we do know those wins are most important. Guys?
Absolutely, Arash. Not only can the Blue Jays get back to the 500 mark, they could move out of the basement tonight if things go their way, if Baltimore loses as well. Kevin Pillar drafted like Troy Tulowitzki was, but a much different situation. Pillar was drafted in the 32nd round in his draft year coming out of college, and I asked him before the game, I said, what was your bonus? He said $1,000. I said, did they offer $750 and you talked him up to $1,000? He said, no, they offered $1,000. We countered with $2,000 and they said, take it or leave it, $1,000. And he said, I thought I better take it at that point. When you're a 32nd round pick, not a lot of leverage, and that's just kind of the way it's been. Kevin Pillar having to prove himself at every single level. Was not drafted out of high school. Was a 3-sport athlete at the time. And didn't even really consider baseball to be his primary sport. Played a lot of football. Played basketball as well. And said he found out he had the computer on and was listening on the internet, he said. And it had gone to day 3 and they're beyond 30 rounds. And he kind of said, well, I don't know if this is going to happen. Only half listening. when he heard his name, found out he'd been drafted by the Blue Jays and signed for $1,000.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do. And, you know, he wanted to play.
Yep.
And he just got into the system and worked his way up almost step by step. And here he is playing a terrific center field for the Blue Jays.
Another part of the story that he told, he said, you know, when you're a 32nd round pick and then you go play rookie ball, it's not like you're a first round pick. He said rookie ball teams have more than 25 players. They have a lot of players. He said there were more than 30 players. He said, so I got there and I would sit a couple of days and then play one and sit a couple of days and play another, because the higher draft picks kind of get prioritized out of the chute even at rookie ball. So even from day one as a professional, you've got to prove yourself more than others.
Oh, absolutely. And you go there not really knowing anything about it, obviously, and it's quite a eye-opener to see younger kids, very talented kids, and the international players were the ones that really make an impact, because you see kids from Venezuela, Mexico, and Dominican Republic, they might be 17, they might be throwing 100 and have no idea where it's going. Nothing like you ever experienced in college.
And you just look at, if you look at any history of the Major League Baseball draft, you'll find Pillards, you'll find guys picked way down who made the major leagues, and you'll find guys that seem like surefire big leaguers, first rounders, high first rounders, who never made it.
Yeah, it's such a mental grind, and there's so much failure involved that oftentimes you see players just walk away, don't have the mental toughness it takes to go through the 0 for 25s, 0 for 30s in rookie ball.
3-2 to Taylor Featherston. Fastball hit in the air, right center field deep. Pillar back, watches it go. Home run to the opposite field for Featherston, and Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead.
Well, he stayed on it and fouled off a couple of pretty good pitches, and then by the time that he gets that pitch, it's his first home run. Opposite field homer, and the Rays, they have really improved in their power hitting numbers this season. It's a four-seam fastball out over the plate, and he stays with it. And knew he got enough of it. Kevin Pillar just put his head down and ran toward the wall. He knew it was hit well, but he didn't expect it to carry out of here. Indeed, it did.
That is the third big league home run for Featherston. He had a couple as an Angel back in 2015, and for the Rays on the season, it is their 100th homer. It's the quickest in franchise history. They've gotten to 100. Took them 67 games. Did it last year in 68.
Lots of carry to the opposite field for Featherston, and it hits that facing just above the fence in right center.
Alex Smith with a home run cut. Rays lead 1-0. Blue Jays and Rays are 5-5 on the season, but over the last decade or so, the Rays have been nothing but trouble for the Blue Jays. Nobody has given the Jays more trouble than Tampa Bay has. Tampa Bay winning about 60% of the time over the last 10 years, 106-70 against the Blue Jays in the last decade.
The second best record by an American League team against any divisional opponent. Only the Texas Rangers, beating up on the Houston Astros, have a better record, and that's changing quickly.
Yes. Astros are starting to narrow the gap in that rivalry. 2-2 on the way. How do you explain it? Why have the Rays been tougher on the Blue Jays than the Yankees or Red Sox?
Because they always have good pitching. Their starting pitching is always consistent, and now they have the hitters to go along with the pitching. But you remember time and time again, especially in St. Petersburg, how the Rays would come back late in games to beat the Blue Jays. They would have good starters. Oh, he said he wins. Smith was halfway toward first. Thought he had checked his swing.
Second strikeout of the night for Estrada.
Smith has struck out twice now, and this one he tries to check and goes too far indeed. He gets called out for the swing on the third base umpire.
So both Estrada strikeouts have been Smith. One down in the third, and here's Dickerson, who had a base hit his first time on. Marco Estrada's strikeout per 9 innings rate this year at the moment is the second highest in Blue Jay history for any starting pitcher, any qualifying pitcher. He's at 10.38 strikeouts per 9 innings. Roger Clemens in 1998 at 10.39, barely ahead of Estrada, who proves there are a number of different ways to go about your business in terms of getting strikeouts. You don't have to do it with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Changeup looped over the head of Donaldson into left field, a base hit, and Dickerson's 2 for 2.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
So the Rays with a 1-0 lead. They've got 6 hits off Estrada, 4, maybe 5 of them not great contact, and then one obviously hit very hard. Featherston with the opposite field home run. Here's Longoria, who grounded out his first time up. 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, and a ground ball through the hole on the right side. Another base hit. Let's get an update now from Jamie Campbell. Jamie, that coming off Zach Wheeler. The Mets came into the game having won 4 in a row, and the Cubs, who looked like about a week ago they were starting to turn it around, slipped back some, and they've got the exact same record as the Blue Jays have entering play tonight. 31 wins and 32 losses for the defending World Series champions. But in the National League Central, that's good enough for just a game out. Milwaukee's in first place, a game ahead of the Cubs.
Yeah, and the Cubs obviously nowhere near the team they had last year, especially the pitching. They haven't pitched as well as they did last year, and some of those guys look like that long season is catching up to them. John Lester, John Lackey not throwing the ball well. Even Jake Arrieta's not throwing the ball very well right now.
First and second, one out. A run in on a home run by Featherston. Morrison, a high fly ball to center field. Pillar's going to turn and watch this one leave the yard. 3-run homer Morrison, and the Rays up the lead to 4-0.
Well, whatever it is that Tampa Bay sees when they're facing Marco Estrada has really hurt him this year. 2 home runs here this evening. Now he has surrendered 13 home runs for the season, and 7 of them to the Rays. Morrison hits his 3rd career home run against Marco Estrada. He's trying to cut this ball, and it just doesn't cut. You can see it almost backs up, goes out over the plate. We talked about Morrison wanting to extend those arms in his first at bat, and he takes it deep to center over Pillar's head into the WestJet flight deck.
That's a shot. That is second level, 400 feet away, and Estrada knew it right away. Barely turned around to see where the ball was going. He knew where it was going. 4-0 Tampa Bay. You feel for him a little bit with the bloop and the ground ball that preceded the home run. But that home run, a no-doubter. The Featherston home run, a no-doubter.
Yeah, there are certain teams that can look and pick something up, and it might not be obviously him tipping his pitches, but just the way that they see the ball coming out of his hand suggests that they have something that they have spread throughout their lineup where everybody's kind of picking up on it. You see his last 5 starts against Tampa Bay, 0-5. Look at the ERA. I mean, this is a guy that the last 2 years has held opponents to a .203 batting average. That is a different story whenever he faces Tampa Bay.
And another looper will drop in for a base hit. Souza has his 2nd hit. That is the 9th hit off Estrada. Again, a lot of soft contact, but 2 big home runs, and John Gibbons is on the phone. And the Blue Jays have been a little bit worried about the number of appearances and the amount of innings that some of the relievers have been forced to do. They did get good starting pitching in Seattle, and they had an off day yesterday, but the last thing that Gibby wants to do is have to get the bullpen up this early.
You saw that curveball and how it went up out of Marco's hand, and that's a red flag to any hitter. Any ball that goes up out of a pitcher's hand is going to be a breaking ball. So Souza picked up on it, cut his stroke down, as you see Dominic Leone begin to loosen up for the Blue Jays. But yeah, in the past, Marco gets on top of that curveball and comes straight out of his hand on the same plane as his fastball, but that one had a loop in it, and Chad Mottola, the hitting coach for the Rays, is enjoying a pretty good start to this game.
Colby Rasmus, the batter, had a base hit his first time up. This ball is ripped fair down the line and all the way into the corner. On his way to third, Souza will be held on a double by Rasmus.
Well, Souza runs hard. He was thinking about scoring on that ball when it got down into the corner, and Bautista played it cleanly out of the corner and got it back to the infield. So that keeps Souza at third. Rasmus with his 5th double of the season. He's 2 for 2 already. And this is the first pitch swing. Rasmus jumps all over it, lines it down into the corner. Watch how Bautista plays it cleanly. If there's any kind of bobble whatsoever, Souza was going to come around third and try to score. Souza, a very good base runner, and runs with 100% effort all the time. And if there was a slight bobble, look where the third base coach is, Charlie Montoya, way down the line. Souza picked him up, and he's able to stop in time at third.
Infield in for the Blue Jays. Ground ball to short. Runner coming home, and they got Souza hung up. The tag applied by Martin for out number 2.
Well, Blue Jays couldn't afford to let any more runs come in this inning, so they brought the infield in. The ball was hit on the ground by Robertson, and then Tulowitzki, you can see him playing right at the edge of the turf. A 2-hopper, he takes on the short hop, unloads in a hurry, and then Russell does the right thing. Just no throws whatsoever. Once he gets Souza to change directions, he's able to tag him out quickly.
So Robertson reaches on the fielder's choice. Rasmus still at second, 2 down. And Estrada will try to get Derek Norris and get out of this without any more damage. A 2-homer, 4-run inning for the Rays here in the third. There's that curveball again, like you said, coming out high, just not getting the ball down like he normally does.
Yeah, he just hasn't had the ability to get on top of it. It's a little bit warm tonight, a little muggy, probably a little perspiration on his hand, and he's not able to get on top of it and really grip it tightly and get that curveball to break.
Leone continues to throw in the bullpen. Estrada up to 63 pitches, 25 this inning. Changeup and no, says Ryan Blakeney. Thought it was low, and it's ball 2. Third start in a row where Estrada has run into some trouble. 2 starts ago against the Yankees. Last time out, better, 4 earned runs in 5 2/3 against Oakland. Better than how it went against the Yankees, but trouble here against the Rays. Fastball lifted in the air, right center. Pilar has room and makes the catch to end the inning. But Estrada surrenders a couple of homers and 4 runs to Tampa Bay here in the third.
Enjoy those comfy green chairs on the TD Comfort Zone. Our guests from one of TD's community partners. And after 40 seasons, how would you rank the Blue Jays' 40 greatest players? Go to sportsnet.ca to select your top 40 list. Number 1 is pretty straightforward. From there, fellas, it is a great debate.
People love lists, no doubt about that. And talking about the 40 greatest players in 40 years of being a Blue Jay, you know, how do you compare a Carlos Delgado to a George Bell to a Jose Bautista to a Roy Halladay? How do you rank these players?
Yeah, it's a very difficult task because they were different players at different times, and you know, obviously the World Series team, they're going to have a lot of weight because of the success they have. Robbie Alomar played here just 5 years, and a lot of people think that he's one of the best players that's ever put a Blue Jay uniform on.
There's Ezequiel Carrera leading off the bottom of the third, 4-0 Tampa Bay. And Faria down the middle with a strike to even it up at 1-1. Carrera continues to keep his average up near the 300 mark. He's at 292 right now. 5 home runs already on the season for Carrera. In left and in center, they really play Carrera to hit the ball the opposite way. The right fielder Sousa's pretty much straight away, so you can see the gap to right center. If Carrera could hit it towards that TD sign, it would be almost a sure triple. Finds a hole on the right side for a base hit.
Well, Carrera's done a real nice job of getting his hits, and obviously he had that big home run in Seattle, and here's a fastball, and he's just going to run it down and in, and Carrera's able to hook it through the hole on the right side of the infield. But you're right, he'll hit fly balls to the opposite field, and he hit this home run to right in Seattle, and he pulls that leadoff single past the first baseman into right.
So the Blue Jays hoping to start chipping away here, down 4-0. Ryan Goins, the second baseman. Some news on Devin Travis today. Had a procedure done yesterday on his knee. Buck, you have some of the details. It doesn't sound like a minor procedure on Devin's knee.
Now, any kind of surgery, it's only minor when it's on somebody else. Yeah. But the thing about Devin is they didn't have to repair anything, didn't have to remove much. They just kind of cleaned up the cartilage. There's a significant bone bruise in his knee, and that just needs time to heal. Boy, Bautista, he's always trying to analyze a pitcher. That's certainly one that you haven't seen before. So he's there with Smoke discussing what he has seen so far. And the Blue Jays would obviously pass on information to everybody. Bautista understands his swing very well, and he also pays attention to his teammates.
In terms of a timetable on Travis, all that John Gibbons would say is it's going to be a while. So this doesn't sound like, you know, just 3-4 weeks or anything like that, which in a very minor, say, arthroscopic procedure is possible. It sounds like it is longer than that for Travis. And there's strike 3 call to get Goins. Let's go down to Arash Madani.
Well, Dan, the procedure is a scope. It's called a debridement. As Buck said, it revealed a bruise inside the bone. Now, Travis is going to be on crutches for about a week, and then comes controlling the swelling, then increasing range of motion, increasing strength, then starting baseball activities. What's most bizarre is that Travis himself nor the medical staff can identify where and how the actual injury happened. So a while indeed before Travis is back here, if at all, this season.
And obviously a big loss given the way he swung the bat in the month of May.
Well, you talk about a bone bruise, and it's basically a precursor to a stress fracture. There has been a trauma in that area at some time. They don't have a specific incident in which it created that bone bruise, but you just have to let that heal. And if you continue to pound on that bone bruise, it'll ultimately become a stress fracture, possibly even a fracture. So time is the only thing that's going to help Devin Travis heal that bone bruise.
So in the meantime, at second base, kind of a loose platoon between Goins, a left-handed batter, and Barney, a right-handed batter. Two guys who have probably played more than was expected this year, given the injuries to Travis Tulowitzki, and Donaldson. All three guys that the spots Goins and Barney can play have been out, have been on the DL extensively this year.
Yeah, they certainly have. And Darwin Barney did a great job filling in early in the season. And now his playing time has been cut down, certainly with the return of Travis and Tulowitzki and Donaldson. And that's why you have depth on your roster. Protect you from those uncertain injuries.
3-0, and Pilar looks at a strike.
Second time through the order, the hitters have just a little bit more information on Faria, and they'll have a better idea about that changeup. He hasn't thrown many changeups over the plate. They have been off the plate with movement.
Fastball fouled back and a full count on Pilar.
You can never really go wrong looking for fastballs. You know you're going to get a fastball or two almost in every at bat. So if you zero in on that until you get 2 strikes, then you got a pretty good approach no matter who's pitching.
Wouldn't think the runner would be moving, down 4 runs, but it is early. Pretty good speed at first. We'll see how the Blue Jays are thinking here. Not going, and a swing and a foul tip held by Norris. Pilar strikes out, 2 down, which will bring up Josh Donaldson, who in his time as a Blue Jay, and that began at the beginning of the 2015 season in the American League. Mike Trout is the only guy with a better OPS over the last 2.5 years than Donaldson.
Yeah, obviously 15 is the big year where everything came together for Josh, and he was the MVP in the American League. Drove in 123 runs, scored 122 runs, and since then only Mike Trout's put up bigger numbers as far as the OPS goes.
Down the left field line, and this will be foul and in the seats deep down the line.
You know, we talked about Donaldson and his very intricate batting style. There's a lot of moving parts. He has a very exaggerated leg kick, but it's all about his swing and his timing. And he has refined it to the point where he can repeat it very quickly. And quickly, after missing 38 games, he picked it right back up.
And the Rays are saying if you want to try for a base hit through the right side, we'll give it to you. We'd be happy to see you try to do that instead of swinging for the fences the way you're swinging these days. They got the shift on, the runner being held on, so nobody basically on the right side of the infield. On the corner, and it's 0-2.
That's a high changeup. It has a little bit of late movement on it, look like. So now the defense is going to cover up some of that big hole on the right side of the infield.
Bouncing ball to third. Big hop Longoria, and that's the inning. Leadoff base hit, but nothing more. End of 3 at Rogers Center, when the Rays lead the Jays 4-0. Liberty Tone, Canada's color experts, available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Top four, 4-0 Rays over the Blue Jays. Big ovation before the game for the ceremonial first pitch. Why was that? Because Mitch Marner of the Maple Leafs got a chance to throw out the opening pitch. Marcus Stroman handled the duties behind the plate. Marner went up on the mound. I don't know if that was his four-seamer, but he was close enough to the strike zone that I think we can call that a success.
I think it was a success, and you can see Marcus Stroman got into it, and Marner was born in Markham, grew up in Thornhill, so he's a local boy that's been able to live out his dreams playing for the Maple Leafs, and what a first season he had.
An electrifying young talent, and the place just erupted. You know, Marner's not he's the kind of guy who, if he walks by you on the street, he looks like 19, 20-year-old kid, because that's what he is. Got a young looking face, and you know, not a big guy by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, what a rookie season he had. Taylor Featherston with a home run off Marco Estrada, and that started the action for the Rays last inning. They scored 4 runs, the other 3 coming on the Logan Morrison home run. Dominic Leone was up in the bullpen last inning. The bullpen quiet as the Rays come up here in the top of the 4th.
Now the curveball, and I'm a little surprised they haven't used more curveballs tonight. We talked about the fact that he had looped it once to Steven Souza Jr. He hit it into right field, but I think you still got to continue to try to mix it in there. That curveball he threw on the previous pitch was a pretty good one.
Leadoff man Mallex Smith waiting on deck for Tampa Bay. Be interesting if the Rays hang around another month or so. Again, they've got a better record than the Blue Jays right now. They're 2 games over 500, 3rd in the division. Sharply hit ball to Anee Donaldson, and a bullet of a throw for out number 1. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell. Been a tough stretch for David Price. On the field his last time out, got knocked around by the Yankees. 6 earned runs in 5 innings, gave up a couple of homers, and then said he wasn't going to speak to the media anymore. And the David Price, just talking about his personality that we see in Boston, sure looks like a different David Price than we saw in Toronto when he was here.
Well, absolutely, and Boston's a tough media town for all the athletes there, and he got into a yelling contest with one of the riders, and it carried on a long time, and Dave Dombrowski's on record to say he's not really pleased with that kind of action. But yeah, David Price was a model citizen here, and the first day he stepped in this stadium, he embraced everything about the Blue Jays.
Mallex Smith not having any fun against Marco Estrada. Struck out in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd. Count 1-2 here. Smith acquired in a trade from Seattle for Drew Smyly. He had originally come from Atlanta, went from Atlanta to Seattle, and 77 minutes later he was traded to Tampa Bay. And showing he has a sense of humor, he put out a tweet saying, talking about his time with the Mariners, quote, "Some of the best 77 minutes of my life. It was awesome. It was electric. I'm still getting fan mail."
He's a very interesting young man, and he comes from quite an athletic family. His father, Michael, played football at Florida A&M, and his brother played football at Arkansas. His mom was a track star, and his 2 sisters both ran track, one professionally for the Nike team. Pretty good genes in that family for sure.
And heading into tonight, in his first 4 games since getting recalled by the Rays after the Kevin Kiermaier injury, 8 for 14, 4 stolen bases, 6 runs scored, a couple of bunt singles mixed in there, and gives Kevin Cash's team just a different kind of a look. They're a big home run, strikeout, or walk team, but he can do this. He can put the ball in play, find a hole, use his speed, and now that he's on, he's definitely a threat to run.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
So the Rays with a man on here in the fourth inning, already up 4-0 on Marco Estrada, and the Blue Jays activity resumes in the bullpen as pitching coach Pete Walker has a meeting on the mound.
Has something to do with Corey Dickerson, of course. As you see, Dominic Leone up for a second time. It won't take him many pitches to get loose this time. You can see he's taking his time. He's already loose, having gotten up earlier. Got up in the third inning, and now after that brief meeting, and you can bet they're talking about Dickerson, who's already 2 for 2, and he's hit a couple of balls hard. It looked like he's hit both changeups. And he will change his batting approach every single day depending on how he feels. And you see now process with Smith at first. He's 7 for 7 in stolen bases, so DeMarlo Hale gives the signs to Russell Martin, who passes them on to Marco Estrada. Throw over. So now they'll have another series of signs. DeMarlo Hale, the bench coach, goes through all of the scouting reports and looks at the counts, see when Smith runs, and then he'll give Russell Martin the appropriate signs.
Not going. 2 years ago in the minors, Smith stole 56 bases in 125 games in the Atlanta system between AA and AAA.
Well, and this just changes the whole tempo of the game, because you've got to keep an eye on Smith. Marco's got to split his attention between the first base runner and the hitter, and it just really slows the game down. Dickerson waved at that good changeup.
So the pitcher has to split his attention between the hitter and the base runner, but the catcher does as well, right?
Yeah, he sure does. And the one thing you don't want to do is change your game calling because of a base stealer. Then you play right into the hitter's hand. You have to continue to call the game, emphasizing Marco's strengths.
Curveball, and that's a base hit past Donaldson into left field. Smith around second, on his way to third. The throw from Carrera comes into second to keep the double play in order. And that is going to be all for Marco Estrada. He'll go just 3 1/3 tonight. Gives up a couple of homers, has given up 12 hits on the night. Some nickel and diming here and there, but the 2 big home runs as well by Featherston and Morrison. And another disappointing walk off the mound for Marco Estrada. 4-0 Tampa Bay with a couple of men on as Dominic Leone makes his way in. Let overbooking ruin your workday. Fly with a WestJet. They don't overbook their flights. The WestJet flight deck is full tonight. There's been some action out there already tonight. Logan Morrison hit a home run out that way. It's 4-0 Tampa Bay. First and third, one out, of the new pitcher is right-hander Dominic Leone.
Leone's done a nice job for the Blue Jays this season. Picked up a win earlier in the season, and he has faced 4 batters since his most recent recall from the minor leagues and retired all 4. He had a good inning in Oakland and then struck out Danny Valencia in Seattle on Friday night, last time he has pitched.
And trying to minimize the damage, keep any more runs from being charged to Estrada. The Carrera throw into second kept the double play in order. Now they're looking for a ball on the ground off the bat of Evan Longoria. Not going to get it as he hooks it down the left field line, and that's a fair ball. In to score is Smith. Dickerson is getting the wave. He will score without a throw. 2-run double makes it 6-0.
Well, Longoria has been swinging the bat very well lately. 2 more hits tonight, and he didn't waste any time. His 17th double comes on the first pitch he sees from Dominic Leone, and he hooks it. Didn't hit it real hard. It's not like he hit it toward the end of the bat, but he keeps it fair and bounces it off the wall down in the left field corner. Dickerson, with great effort, scores all the way from first, and that'll close the books on Marco Estrada,
who is charged with 6 runs, all earned in 3 1/3 tonight. Up and into Morrison. So that's 3 starts in a row, Buck, where it hasn't been the Estrada the Blue Jay fans have come to know over the last 2.5 years.
No, and it's quite a departure from all the other outings he's had, because he's given up 25 hits to Tampa Bay in 3 starts over the course of 14 1/3 innings. So whatever it is, they see something on Marco, and I'm sure it's going to be something that he'll try to figure out. Look out.
Well, you just take for granted sometimes that you can turn your head, and obviously everybody's okay for the ovation we just heard, but man, no matter where you're sitting, that ball can get on you in a hurry.
Yeah, and all you have to do as a fan is just watch the players react if a ball's hit toward the dugout. They all scatter. We suggest you do the same.
It's Morrison, a fly ball, and a 3-run homer tonight, is 18th. So he moves into a tie with Justin Smoke and 3 others for second in the American League in home runs, behind only Aaron Judge of the Yankees, who was the major league leader with 22 homers. And the Yankees have been on an offensive tear lately. They've won 6 in a row, and they've scored 60 runs in those 6 games. And they are out in front in the American League East.
They had 2 huge first innings against the Orioles, in which they tacked up big numbers against the starters, Chris Tillman and Kevin Gausman.
And a swing and a miss to get them 2 down. And as well as it's been going for the Yankees, to your point, is as poorly as it's been going for the Orioles. Their pitching has been a mess. They've lost 5 in a row and have allowed 54 runs in those 5 games. They've got an early 1-0 lead on the White Sox tonight after an inning with Alec Asher on the mound.
Yeah, they have really suffered because of starting pitching. They haven't had consistent starting pitching. Only Dylan Bundy has been somewhat serviceable. But if they lose tonight, they fall under 500 for the first time since the end of the 2015 season.
Steven Souza Jr. already 2 for 2, drills one to deep center. Pilar runs it down on the track. Takes away a potential extra base hit from Souza. One of the few bits of good news so far here tonight for the Jays.
Enter for a chance to win the TD Comfort Zone contest. On any Tuesday, post a video or photo of you showing your Blue Jays spirit, along with hashtag TD Tuesday and at Blue Jays to Twitter or Instagram. For full details and rules, visit bluejays.com/comfort zone. Guys.
Arash, thank you very much. The Blue Jays trying to get some of the spirit back into the ballpark. Tampa Bay with a 6-0 lead, going bottom 4 behind rookie right-hander Jake Faria, making just his second big league start and appearance, and he's in there with a strike to Jose Bautista, who he struck out back in the first. Bautista, Morales, and Smoke 3-4-5 this inning. Faria, in his first big league start last week against the White Sox, gave up hits to 2 of the first 3 batters that he faced, and then only gave up 1 more hit through the next 6 innings. 6 1/3, 1 run got the win. And he said, quote, I just went back to being me. Just kind of had a talk with himself and said, hey, if it worked at AAA, it'll work here. Don't try to do too much. The old trust your stuff thing that it takes some pitchers a long time to figure out.
Yeah, it sure does. And you think, well, these are big league hitters. They're going to hit my good pitches, and you try to make better pitches, but you just don't have that ability. So you go back to what got you here, obviously. Throwing strikes. He's done that with fastballs and breaking balls, and then mixing in a very good changeup. A lot of movement on that split grip changeup he throws.
And there for strike 3 called to get Bautista again. 5th strikeout already for Faria.
And you can see the frustration as Blue Jays haven't faced Faria before, and Bautista was obviously thinking he might get something other than the fastball. It's just a 4-seam fastball over the outside corner, and he can't pull the trigger.
Kendrys Morales now reached on an error back in the second. There's a curveball at 75, not a pitch that he throws all that often. Drops it in there for a strike. Blue Jays have 2 hits so far off Faria. Tulowitzki's got a base hit and Carrera's got a base hit. Faria was called up last week to make the start when Matt Andriese was on the DL. Made the start. Andriese came off the DL, then went right back on with a hip issue. A stress reaction in his hip that's going to cost him a significant amount of time. So Faria got called right back up. Good change up there, and a weak ground ball out to the second baseman Featherston, 2 down. The Rays, like so many other teams in baseball, Buck, dealing with a lot of injuries.
They have 12 players currently on their disabled list. These are the most prominent players. Andriese, you mentioned with the hip. Matt Duffy hasn't played at all this season. Kevin Kiermaier slid into first base and suffered a fractured hip. Brad Miller, their second baseman, has a groin injury, and Wilson Ramos is coming back, and he is close to being activated. He's probably going to be back within a week, so he's on a rehab assignment. And then Kevin Cash and the Rays will have a decision to make about Jesus Sucre or Derek Norris. One of them probably going to be let go. Sucre's done a nice job. He really throws the ball very well. Good catcher. But with Ramos, that's the guy they wanted all along to be their everyday catcher.
When you look at the standings right now, the Red Sox are in possession of the first wild card spot. The Indians and Rays are tied for the second, and then there are 6 more teams, including the Blue Jays, within 2 games of the wild card spot. So a total of 8 teams within 2 games of one another. There's a sharply hit ball off the bat of Smoke at a right center of base hit. Do you think, Buck, are the Rays as good a shot as anybody else in that mishmash in the middle to have some staying power and maybe be a contender this year?
Absolutely, I do. I think they do because of their starting pitching, and certainly the way Faria has pitched here tonight, and you know, Odorizzi and Cobb and Archer, they've got a nice pitching staff, and that's always going to keep you in ball games. And now they're hitting home runs. Archer really having another good season. Odorizzi will pitch tomorrow, and they have really always had real strong starting pitching, and I think a lot of credit goes to Jim Hickey, who really has the ability to bring out the best in his pitchers. Hickey, 11 years as their pitching coach, and You know, one thing that they've always had problem with was the bullpen. Finding a competent bullpen year in and year out, and the bullpen has cost them some games this year.
Troy Tulowitzki, a base hit his first time up. Blue Jays will not see Archer in this little 2-game series. As you mentioned, Odorizzi will start tomorrow for the Rays. Faria tonight. So the Blue Jays missed the best that the Rays have to offer. But they're not having any fun with Faria. Popped up. And caught awkwardly by Morrison down the line. I mean, that's a little more interesting than probably he wanted it to be. Time now for an update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio.
June 29th is Thursday night in the 6th, presented by TD. And the first 15,000 fans in attendance receive a Stro t-shirt. You can join pregame in the WestJet flight deck for live music and entertainment. BlueJays.com for tickets. Thursday night in the 6th, presented by TD.
Arash, thank you. That is a series against the Baltimore Orioles at the end of the month. Or is that when the Red Sox are already here? I think that might be when the Red Sox are already here. It's a big end of June for the Blue Jays and into July. Lots of interesting games coming up here at Rogers Center. They've got the Orioles. That is a Baltimore game. Thursday night, the final game of a Baltimore series. Red Sox come to town over the weekend right after that, including a Saturday afternoon Canada Day affair here at Rogers Center. Always one of the highlights of the home calendar. Dominic Leone back out for the 5th. 6-0 Tampa Bay. Colby Rasmus has a single and a double. 13 hits for the Rays in this game, 12 of them off Estrada. And then the 2-run double by Longoria to bring in a couple of inherited runs. Knocks the mask right off of Martin.
Yeah, you can see these Rays, all of them swinging the bats with a lot of confidence right now, and they're playing good ball. They're getting a lot of good efforts from their starting pitchers, and Rasmus has had 2 real good at bats so far, and that ball fouled off right off the mask of Russell Martin.
One, 2. Yes, he did, says home plate umpire Ryan Blakeney, and Martin will have to complete it down to first for out number 1.
Marco Estrada was the starter in this game, his 3rd start of the season against Tampa Bay, and it didn't go very well for Marco. Once again, Tampa Bay has hit him hard this season. 3 1/3, 12 hits, 2 home runs. Didn't walk anybody and struck out a couple, and he had some tough luck in that 4-run inning, a couple of bleeders, an infield hit, and then a home run by Logan Morrison capped it off.
As we mentioned off the top of the show, this is the 6th time this year where the Blue Jays have tried to get to 500. They have not been a 500 team at any point this season. They've had 5 previous opportunities, 2 of them right at the beginning of the season. Whoops. That bat skips off the top of the dugout into the 3rd row, and a good catch by the guy in the Bautista jersey to keep everybody else out of harm's way.
Robertson, you saw that bottom hand came off the bat first, and boy, how in the world it misses people, but they all react very quickly and jump out of the way, and there's a couple of youngsters right in the front row. Fortunate that that missed them, but he appears to be okay.
0-2 and a swing and a miss, and a good breaking ball down and away, 2 down.
The bullpen has been very good for the Blue Jays, and they've been racking up the strikeouts. That's 3 for Dominic Leone since he entered the game. Of course, he gave up that 2-run double to Longoria, the first batter he faced, but since then, 4 straight retired.
Catcher Derek Norris 0 for 2. Double play ball and a fly ball to center. He is the only Rays batter without a base hit in this game. Mentioned the 6th time the Blue Jays go for the 500 mark. They were 0-1 and 1-2, but couldn't win on either of those opportunities. And then again 3 times recently, 26 and 27, 27 and 28, 28 and 29. Amazing to be sub 500 the entire season, to have had the injuries and other issues that John Gibbons' team has had to deal with, and to be a game and a half out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, and that's why you just keep plugging away, and as bad a start as they got off to, they're still within striking distance, that's for sure. It's the 64th game of the season.
Joe Biagini is one reason why the Blue Jays have stayed afloat. His win and loss record doesn't reflect how well he's pitched and how important he has been for the Blue Jays with various other starters on the DL.
Yeah, he has had back-to-back 7-inning outings, and he pitched very well in Seattle. And people forget how well Seattle was swinging the bats at the start of that series, and how effectively Biagini, Stroman, and Happ handled them, and how well they pitched.
By the way, to give you an idea of how different it is in the 2 leagues right now, let's say the Blue Jays were a National League team and they had the exact same record they have now. Instead of being a game and a half out of the second wild card, they would be 7 games out of the second wild card spot. Because right now with the National League, you got 3 teams out of the NL West all playing very well. Colorado, the Dodgers, and Arizona. Arizona's a 600 team, and they're in the second wild card spot at 39 and 26. You're a 500 team in the National League. You got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, and that's why this American League is so much up in the air, and I think everybody's just trying to figure out how they can hang in there and how they can put together a surge to improve their situation as far as the postseason.
Boy, at some point psychologically, you just got to get to that 500 mark. You can't really consider yourself a contender till you get there and get over the 500 mark and stay there. Blue Jays still looking to get over that hurdle.
Now it all goes back to pitching too, and especially the starting pitching. They're the ones that set the tone. Last year the Blue Jays starters threw the most innings in baseball, and they were able to pitch deep into games, keep the teams in it. And when your starters win games, that's generally when your team wins divisions and championships.
Two. Got him. Leone strikes out the side here in the 5th. See if the Blue Jays can channel that momentum into something good happening on the offensive side.
may not be that much longer before we see these two men whack with the Blue Jays. Aaron Sanchez threw long toss today as part of his throwing program. The Blue Jays expect him to throw off a mound later in the week. John Gibbons is hoping to have Steve Pearce back by the weekend when the Blue Jays play the White Sox. Pearce bumped up to AAA Buffalo, scheduled to go all 9 innings for the Bisons tonight. The good news with that calf, he scored from first on a double. He's 1 for 3 tonight. The ideal scenario with Pearce, he plays again tomorrow, then Dan to travel to Toronto on Thursday and play on Friday.
Arash, thank you. Well, the White Sox come to town, so the Blue Jays still looking to get healthier. Things aren't as dire in the health department as they were a few weeks ago, but they'd love to get Pearce and Sanchez back. Sounds like Pearce is closer, barring any setbacks in the next couple of days. Blue Jays carrying an 8-man bullpen right now, which is not ideal. Just a 3-man bench. That could change if Pearce comes back. Maybe cut down on a reliever, go back to a 7-man pen. Russell Martin will lead off the bottom of the 5th against Jake Faria. The Blue Jays down 6-0, being out hit 13-3. And another breaking ball stays high as Faria falls behind 2-0.
Obviously, the Blue Jays have the kind of attack that they can get back in this game quickly, but they've got to get some runners on, try to string things together against Faria.
3 hits, all singles. They've had 1 runner as far as second. That's it. And left-hander Jeff Beliveau is up in the bullpen now for the Jays. Taking all the way, 3-1. After Martin, it'll be Carrera and Goins, the bottom third of the order. Inside corner, full count. Carrera's got one of those base hits tonight. Goins in the dugout awaiting his opportunity. Rays have had some trouble. You mentioned it later in games, bullpen. Let some leads slip away, and there's still a ways to go in this one.
You see an awful lot of discussion on the bench between the hitters about what they're dealing with Faria. First time he's ever pitched against him, only his second big league game.
High fly ball down the left field line. Foul into the second deck, but foul. Martin knew it pretty much off the bat. He never really left the plate. Three-two again. Morrison in from first. 1 down.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful night, warm night in Toronto. Roof open at Rogers Center, bottom of the 5th inning. Buck Martinez, Arash Madani, I'm Dan Shulman. A 6-0 lead for the Rays. All of the runs coming off Marco Estrada. 4 in the 3rd, 2 more in the 4th. Charged to Estrada after he had left the game. Here's Ezekiel Carrera, who with a base hit his first time up raises his average up to 296. If Pearce is back for the weekend series, be interesting to see how he mixes into things. The way Smoke is going, you wouldn't anticipate Pearce getting much time at all at first base, and that was originally at least part of the plan at the beginning of the year. So does he mix in as a platoon player out in left field, just getting a chance maybe to start against lefties since he's a right-handed batter.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they're going to try to do. But you know, they played him every day before he got hurt. He was just starting to swing the bat, so maybe he'll get that opportunity again. See if he can't swing that productive bat the way he did a couple years ago in Baltimore. 21 home run season. Not going to move Smoke out, and he's earned the right to overcome any kind of downward trends for any length of time. He's all-star worthy for sure. You know, Carrera with that hit now has 48 hits this season already. His career high 67 came last year. And he's had just 161 at-bats coming into this game. So he's played a lot and been productive. His career high in home runs is 6. That 2 came last year, and he's got 5 already.
Got a little banged up on this foul ball. Ooh,
right off the arch.
Yep. Three-2. Strike 3 call.
Tough pitch down and away with 2 strikes and another strikeout. 6 strikeouts for Faria. Fastball right on the corner, down and away. You see that pitch just works its way to the outside corner, and Ryan Blakely, the home plate umpire, rings up Carrera.
Two down in the inning, and Faria now will face Ryan Goins. Goins called out on strikes his first time up. George Poulos, trainer for the Blue Jays, over to talk with Carrera and see how that right foot is doing. And another pop-up and another easy inning for Faria. 5 shutout innings for the rookie. 6-0 Tampa Bay.
A signed bat from Russell Martin, a trip to a Blue Jays road game. How about a VIP experience at Rogers Center? Rogers wants you to submit your baseball dream at RogersCelebrates.com, and your baseball dream could come true.
Sounds good, Arash. That young man would love to win a baseball dream. Having a good time at the ballpark tonight, in spite of the fact the Blue Jays are trailing. New pitcher for the Blue Jays out of the bullpen comes former member of the Rays, left-hander Jeff Beliveau.
Third appearance of the season for Beliveau, and he spent 17 games in AAA with the Bisons. Pitched very well. Had a 3-1 record. Picked up a save. A total of 32 innings pitched. Just 16 hits allowed by Beliveau. And you mentioned he pitched for the Rays, originally drafted by the Cubs. Signed with the Cubs early on, spent parts of a season in Chicago and then parts of 3 seasons with the Rays. First time he's been back in the big league since 2015.
J.P. Howell on the DL right now, so Beliveau slotting in as the second lefty out of the pen behind Aaron Luke. And quickly out in front of Taylor Featherston. No balls and 2 strikes. Featherston has homered and grounded out tonight. His home run to the opposite field to right center back in the 3rd opened up the scoring. Tim Beckham getting a night off at short for the Rays, and Matt Duffy, who was to have been the shortstop, has been out all year. Achilles injury that has really kind of morphed now into a heel problem. Just can't shake the discomfort. Former member of the San Francisco Giants, and has yet to make an appearance this season.
Yeah, we saw Duffy the last time we were in Tampa Bay, and he was going through baseball drills, but obviously hasn't responded as favorably as they had hoped. He was going to be their everyday shortstop. Tim Beckham's done a nice job for them. And as you mentioned, just getting a night off. Beckham's hit .282 with 10 home runs.
Fly ball to right. Bautista there, 1 down.
Available Honda Sensing in the all-new 2017 CR-V, designed to help keep you safe wherever you play. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
First game of 2 here at Rogers Center between the Rays and the Blue Jays. The White Sox in town over the weekend. Tampa Bay in charge right now, leading 6-0. Here's Malik Smith, 1 for 3. Singleton scored his last time up. Donaldson creeping in case Smith decides to try to drop one down for a base hit.
Smith came up with that base hit with 1 out in the 4th inning, and then Estrada really was focused on his threat to run at first, and that would lead to a Corey Dickerson base hit, and that knocked Estrada out of the game. But Smith came in on the Longoria 2-run double.
Checking around the rest of the American League East, the Red Sox are up 3-2 on the Phillies in the top of the 6th. David Price still in the game for Boston, 5 1/3, 2 runs. He's at 92 pitches. Baltimore leading the White Sox 1-0, bottom of the 3rd. The Yankees are in Anaheim later tonight.
CC Sabathia goes to the mound. He's got a 7-2 record, and he's 5-0 over his last 5 starts. The Blue Jays saw him. He was pitching very well. He's got a 111 earned run average over those last 5 starts.
Amazing.
CC has reinvented himself.
Yep. And a swing and a miss. Smith strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Clayton Kershaw is on the mound tonight. The Dodgers are in Cleveland. It's a 2-2 tie in the top of the 6th inning. I don't know if you've seen, Buck. There is a story online that says that Yasiel Puig flashed the middle finger on both hands in the direction of fans in Cleveland after hitting a home run tonight on his way back to the dugout. So,
oops.
Yeah. It had been a relatively uneventful year for Puig in terms of this, or anything untoward, but see how this one plays out. Haven't seen the video, obviously, just reading about the story online. We'll see what comes of this.
I don't think he's ever played in Cleveland before, has he?
I wouldn't think so. Two down and the bases empty. Corey Dickerson facing Beliveau. Dickerson 3 for 3 tonight. 3 singles. Got 85 hits, leading the American League. Had a big cut there, but he came up empty.
Had a great conversation with Dickerson before batting practice today about this season and what has been so good for him. He lost about 25 pounds, and that certainly took some pressure off his feet. He's had issues with his feet the last couple of years, but more than anything, he said, I've gone back to being Corey Dickerson. He said, I used to worry about trying to copy good hitters around baseball, and he said, I just got back to the basics. He says, I try to just stay compact up the middle. Don't try to think about home runs. He always said he has the attitude of going to the plate looking for a double. He said, I'm always thinking about extra base hits, and that'll keep you on the ball longer. And you have seen him hit the ball both sides of the diamond tonight.
And just about every hitter will tell you, if you go up there trying to hit a home run, you're not going to hit a home run. If you just try to put a good swing on the ball, the home runs will come.
Now, we mentioned Malik Smith, and he's a unique young man, and he comes from a family of great athletes, and he's taken notes about that last at bat against Beliveau, just to keep track of what he's doing against lefties, righties, whatever. But it's all new to him.
Beliveau strikes out Dickerson to win the inning. Blue Jays coming up, bottom 6.
Well, you can vote today, you can vote tomorrow, you can vote for any of your Toronto Blue Jays for the 2017 All-Star Game with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. You can vote at bluejays.com/vote and catch all of the excitement of the 88th Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 11th live on Sportsnet. Dan?
All right, Arash, thank you. And yeah, Justin Smoke certainly having an all-star caliber season one way or another. You got to believe that he's going to be there. Maybe if Marcus Stroman keeps going the way that he's going, he's got a chance to be an all-star.
Absolutely, he does. He's really thrown the ball well, and he's going to have several more starts before the all-star break. That'll be fun. I'm going to do that game for MLB International. And
cool.
Get a chance to go down there and see it in Miami.
I have a feeling if Stroman does wind up in the All-Star game, he's going to enjoy his time down there. He will enjoy the experience.
Well, I think that's what the WBC did for him too.
Yeah.
You know, not that he needed any more confidence,
No.
but it certainly put him in a great atmosphere of competition. I think it helped him off to this great start.
Top of the order for the Blue Jays here, bottom 6 against rookie Jake Faria. The Blue Jays have just 3 hits off the right-hander so far, who has not walked a batter and has struck out 6 in just his second big league start. Beat the White Sox in his first start last week. And he strikes out Pilar for number 7.
Well, the Blue Jays have a very experienced lineup, and generally experienced hitters like to have a history against a pitcher. But they're seeing Faria for the first time. It's just a 4-seam fastball, and it's not overpowering by any means, but he locates, and it's got a little extra ride to it. Just really stays up in that zone. And Pilar, his timing was off a little bit. You saw his foot, then the hesitation, and that fastball was past him.
Donaldson couldn't check the swing on the slow curveball. Donaldson is lined out and grounded out tonight. Three on the left side of the infield. Morrison well off the bag at first. And a big cut, swing and a miss, 0-2.
Now with 2 strikes, you'll see Featherston go back to the first base side of second, trying to close the gap between he and Morrison, the first baseman.
Or that splitter or changeup, whatever the split grip changeup, there's a ton of movement in on the hands of a right-handed batter.
Yeah, it really runs a lot, and we have seen that all night long as he's been able to throw it, but he hasn't really thrown it consistently in the strike zone. But it's certainly been in the heads of the Blue Jays hitters. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, loves pitchers' ability to throw changeups, off-speed pitches.
That time Donaldson checked. Tampa Bay's kind of had a reputation of a staff where you got to have some sort of a changeup, right? Everybody throws one on this.
Yeah, it goes back several years. Jeremy Hellickson won Rookie of the Year throwing a changeup very effectively. Cobb's got a great changeup. Archer's the exception. He throws fastball slider almost exclusively.
Donaldson with a base hit. 4th hit of the night for the Blue Jays.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by Samsung QLED TV. Experience Canada's team in all the colors of the game with the next innovation in TV.
Brisk business at Jay's shop out on the WestJet flight deck. Everybody just looking for the Blue Jays to turn it up a notch or two offensively here. Down 6-0, bottom of the 6th. 1-out single for Donaldson, and here's Jose Bautista, who's not having any luck so far with Jake Faria. Struck out swinging in the 1st, struck out looking in the 4th. It's been a streaky year for Bautista. Started off very cold and got about as hot as anybody in May, and now he's cooled off again.
Faria's done a nice job of mixing in those breaking balls. One's a curveball, one's a slider, and it's been very effective for him. I think more than anything, the fastball, his ability to locate his fastball has set up the breaking balls very effectively.
And a fairly efficient pitch count for Faria as well. He's at 81 right now through 5 in the 3rd. So if he keeps pitching effectively, certainly could go 7 innings in this game. Fouled off the end of the bat, 2-2.
These are the tough innings for Tampa Bay in 6th, 7th, and 8th inning before they get to Alex Colomé, their closer, and that's why Jim Hickey is poring over the scouting reports, some matchup sheets, looking to see if he has favorable matchups for those middle inning relievers down in his bullpen.
And a full count.
You mentioned the roller coaster season has been so far for Bautista. 178 in May, 178 in April, 317 in May, and now 114 in 10 games coming into this game tonight in June.
228 overall. 3-2. And he walked him. First walk given up by Faria. 2 men on for the Blue Jays. And Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, on his way to the mound.
Hickey will come out and just remind Faria, pitch ahead. Don't try to get too fine here as you're trying to squeeze out another inning in the 6th. Get ahead with your fastball, trust that breaking ball, and don't worry about where you are in the lineup. Only 4 hits allowed. He's been doing a pretty good job for just his 2nd major league start.
Ryan Blakeney, the umpire, breaks up the meeting. First and second, one out, bottom of the sixth. Roof open at Rogers Center. First game of 2 between these divisional rivals, the Blue Jays in the race. Tampa Bay up 6-0. Kendrys Morales reached on an error and is also grounded out. Rays trying to figure out how they want to play him on the infield. They've got the shortstop Robertson playing behind the runner Donaldson out at second, and they don't have the second baseman Featherston too deep, because if Morales hits one on the ground, they want a chance to turn 2.
Well, and this plays into Morales' favor. Even if he pulls it now, the range of the right side of the infield is cut down dramatically because they can't play him in the outfield. Of course, the Blue Jays lean heavily on the home run, and a home run right here would get them right back in this game. This is a big part of their lineup. Morales and Smoke behind them.
One. Change up, fouled off to the left. 1-2. Did you find when you faced a pitcher you had never seen before that information given to you from the guys ahead of you in the order, does it really help?
Oh, absolutely it helps. And you can draw comparisons between somebody you're really familiar with. He throws the changeup like, he's got a slider like, and then you just kind of fill in the blanks and find a pitcher that has a comparable breaking ball, and that'll give a hitter somebody that he can gauge on and visualize that same type of breaking ball.
Down and away, 2-2. Sure looks pretty calm for a 23-year-old making his second big league start.
10th round pick back in 2011. He's had a lot of success working in the minors. Been a starter almost exclusively throughout his career.
And Morales swings through a high fastball for the second out.
I tell you what, this year I've been very impressed with Derek Norris, the catcher. He started his career with Oakland, and he's bounced around a little bit. San Diego, Washington, but he does a nice job of setting up this high fastball for the strikeout. He threw a couple changeups, threw some breaking balls, and lately Morales has been getting a steady diet of pitches inside, but this time they run it up and away, and he swings right through it. That's 8 strikeouts now for Faria.
So 2 on, 2 out now, and the batter Justin Smoke 1 for 2. Curveball for a strike.
That's almost a free strike when you could drop that curveball in there. Not many hitters are going to swing at a curveball on the first pitch. So it really opens up the rest of the at bat for the pitcher.
Changeup 0-2.
Yeah, that's one of the better changeups we have seen. It started in the strike zone in the late movement. Just moved it down and away from Smoke.
Well, he can throw him about anything he wants to right now, you would think, after those 2 pitches.
Might go back upstairs as he did to Morales.
Everything's in play here at 0-2. High fly ball hit pretty well to left field. Did he get enough? He did not. Just about, but Erasmus has room just shy of the fence. A sigh of relief from Faria.
wasn't until he made a winter trip to Montreal that Jeff Beliveau realized the kind of sporting significance his last name has. He's not a hockey fan after all. So Beliveau spoke with family members about it, and they dialed up Ancestry.com. And as Jeff tells it, there is some lineage between he and his immediate family and the late, great Jean Beliveau. He's not sure the direct connection, but was telling us the other day there certainly is one. Jeff and Jean Beliveau, a connection. How about that, Mr. Schulman?
That's a connection you want to have. You want to tell people about being related to one of hockey's all-time greats. Evan Longoria leads it off against Beliveau here in the 7th. 6-0 Rays. You can see there's a little deception from Beliveau, and you can see hitters a little bit late at times picking it up, whether it's a lefty or a righty. Kind of hides the ball a little bit.
There's a little lag in his arm action there, and he has a hesitation. He taps his glove, he goes back, and there's a little pause, and that will be deceptive to a hitter. You see the glove start, the arms come through, and then after he taps his glove, there's a little bit of lag as he gets that ball set back behind his shoulder there. Just enough to throw off your timing a bit. You know, getting back to that Jean Beliveau story, it's hard to fathom that Jeff Beliveau wasn't a hockey fan growing up in Rhode Island. He went to high school in Warwick, Rhode Island, went down to the College of Charleston, and later to Florida Atlantic University, where he pitched. But of course, Rhode Island, you got to believe it's major hockey country.
Yeah. Just as well he'd probably been a Bruins fan growing up in Rhode Island, and of course Jean was a Canadiens legend. Marco Estrada went 3 1/3 tonight, charged with 6 runs all earned. Dominic Leone an inning and 2/3, not charged with any runs, but the hit he gave up cashed in 2 inherited runs charged to Estrada. Leone struck out 4 in his inning and 2/3, and this is the 2nd inning of work for Beliveau tonight. Phillies have tied it up with the Red Sox. It's now 3-3, top 7 at Fenway. David Price out of the game, winds up giving up 3 runs all earned in 6 innings of work tonight. Orioles still lead the White Sox 1-0. It's now top of the 4th in Chicago. Outside, ball 4. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda, proud fan since 1977, an official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, Logan Morrison against Marco Estrada. Man, this is the 3rd home run Morrison has hit against Estrada. This one goes deep to center field, a 3-run home run back in the 3rd. A 2-home run inning for Tampa Bay as they send 9 men to the plate, and for Morrison, that's his 18th home run of the season. Quite a turnaround from the start he had last year, where I believe he was like 82 at bats into the season before he drove in a run.
And we'll see how Beliveau fares rather against a left-handed batter in Morrison. Shift on 3 on the right side for the Blue Jays. Outside. 39,404 the attendance tonight here at Rogers Center. Waiting for something to get loud about.
Blue Jays have done a great job of attracting fans, and they're all anxious for this team to get up to 500 and over 500 and get back into the pennant race where it's a legitimate race once again.
Getting back to Seattle.
On Saturday, they had 120,000 for the 3-game series, and their average attendance is 23,000 a game.
Big business for hotels and restaurants and everybody there, huh?
Indeed it was, and they had Blue Jays memorabilia in their team shop. They were selling jerseys and hats and everything else. They were smart enough to stock up the Blue Jays gear.
Yep.
So if somebody had left their Jersey at home in Canada. They were prepared for it.
Can you think of another major league situation, and a couple come to mind maybe as being in the same boat, where so many visiting fans consistently go to a certain ballpark to cheer on their team?
You know, you always have to think about the Cubs going to St. Louis, but there's so many St. Louis fans there that there aren't many seats available.
Yeah.
The Red Sox,
I think in Baltimore sometimes Red Sox fans take over.
I think so, because Baltimore doesn't draw particularly well. It's hard to get a ticket in Fenway because it's sold out nearly every game, so people travel there, not far. You can certainly travel by car and get there. But it's a unique situation when the Blue Jays are in Seattle.
3-2 hit in the air to right field. Bautista isn't going to get there. Tried to decoy the runner. Longoria didn't bite, and he comes around to third on the single by Morrison.
They have hit some balls hard, but they've also dumped some in there, and another fly ball drops safely in right field. Well, Morrison is 2 for 4.
So activity in the bullpen again as the Rays look to add on here in the 7th inning, and it's right-hander Jason Grilli. Beliveau will face Steven Souza Jr. 2 for 3, couple of base hits and a fly ball.
It's really interesting. Souza, powerful right-handed hitter, has not hit well against left-handers. 221 average coming into this ball game. He doesn't have a home run. So all 11 of his home runs have come against right-handed pitchers.
Beliveau turned that one over, and it sailed outside. Retired the Rays in order in the 6th inning, including a couple of strikeouts, but a walk and a base hit into right field. And the Rays threatening again here in the 7th, already leading 6-0. And out hitting the Blue Jays 14-4. Sweeping breaking ball misses down and in, ball 3.
Yeah, Souza's not even offering it anything, and nothing has been close enough for him even to think about swinging. But now it's a 3-1 count. You can bet he's going to expand his zone a bit
and sit hard on a fastball, right? Beliveu's missed away with an off-speed pitch, changeup, missed down and in with a breaking ball. Three-one. Got that fastball, and he lifts it in the air to right field. Longoria back to tag. Bautista makes the catch, and nobody going anywhere as Bautista gets it back into the infield.
Yeah, big out for Beliveau there to get the fly ball to shallow right, and Bautista's thrown the ball well this season, so they weren't going to chance it. And now Pete Walker is checking on Jason Grilli to see how close he is. Not Rasmus, the lefty, but then Robertson and Norris, a couple of right-handers after Colby Rasmus.
So probably last batter here for Beliveau as Martin heads out to the mound to discuss Colby Rasmus.
Obviously big runs to save here in this situation to keep it at 6. So Martin says, listen, we got a lefty up here. We don't have to give in to him, and we'd like to hit him, get into a ground ball, obviously, but don't give in to Colby Rasmus. If you happen to walk him or lose him, Then you go to Jason Grilli, who has strikeout capability, especially with the next two batters. No reason to be overly aggressive to Colby Rasmus here. If he wants to chase a breaking ball, fine.
Down and away, ball one. Went with that breaking ball. Third appearance of the season for the Blue Jays for Beliveau, spending most of his time, as Buck mentioned earlier, at AAA Buffalo. Center field. Pilar makes the grab. Longoria tags and scores easily. Sac fly makes it 7-0.
So Rasmus has had a good night at the plate. A couple of hits, now sacrifice fly, single double. Picks up the RBI, his 23rd of the season. He started on the disabled list. He's been a nice addition to this team, especially defensively in left field.
And it looks like Beliveau is going to stay to face Robertson. The right-hand hitting shortstop. 1 for 3 tonight. Hit an infield hit back in the second. Really ready if needed. John Gibbons will give Beliveau a chance to finish it off. Pete Walker looking on for the dugout as Beliveau tries to end the inning with no further damage. Catches the corner with a fastball, 1-1.
Dan, you mentioned these two teams have split to 10 games to start the season. The Blue Jays have actually held them to a .224 batting average coming into this game, but 2 more home runs tonight. Now they have surrendered 14 home runs in 11 games to Tampa Bay.
It must be a different kind of an experience sometimes to be a member of the Rays. I mean, they're a team that I think everybody respects what they do with what they have, considering the payroll is so small, but kind of sneak under the radar. Yeah, they're those pesky Rays, and then you look up 66 games into the season and they're in the hunt in spite of a number of injuries.
Yeah, and they just have the knack, and we talked about it earlier, how their starting pitching has always been able to keep them afloat. Kevin Cash's background is as a catcher, of course, and he understands the value of starting pitching, and they've had Archer, and Erasmo Ramirez has started from time to time, and they've done a nice job of keeping their team within striking distance. And now with the home runs, they have been able to win more games than you might think.
Tapper back to the mound, ends the inning. The Rays tack on a run. 7th inning stretch time at Rogers Center with the Rays leading 7-0.
This summer, the Blue Jays Baseball Academy will be hosting 11 Honda Super Camps across Canada. You can learn techniques from former Blue Jays like Robbie Alomar, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Register now at bluejays.com/camps.
Thank you, Arash. Blue Jays coming up in the bottom of the 7th inning. Down 7-0 in the first game of 2 against Tampa Bay. Troy Tulowitzki is going to lead it off. Rookie Jake Faria, second big league start, still on the mound. 6 really strong innings. Nothing kind of blows you away. No specific pitch makes you go wow, but he has been impressive. Just pitching, changing speeds, moving the ball around, hitting spots, and kind of frustrating these Blue Jay hitters.
Well, he sure has. And you know what? You'd think, okay, second, third time through the order, they'll catch up to him. But I think Faria and Derek Norris have done a nice job of changing their approach each at bat.
Ground ball down to third, gobbled up by Longoria to retire Tulowitzki.
Just the second major league start for Jake Faria, and he got off to a good start with strikeouts. He struck out Bautista in the first, got Smoke in the second. He's used a combination of pitches. Bautista has struck out twice. Good fastball to Carrera, and then he elevates the fastball and strikes out both Pilar and Morales. 8 strikeouts.
Has only walked 1, has given up 4 hits, all of them singles, and is not yet at 100 pitches. Like a little cut fastball there that we haven't seen much of from Faria. Is just outside. A ball 1 to Russell Martin, who's 0-2 on the night. Looked pretty good, but called low right there. And maybe now it's Derek Norris having a little subtle conversation with the home plate umpire. Big swing and a miss by Martin on that sinking fastball. 2-1. Jake Odorizzi on the mound tomorrow night for the Rays, and Francisco Liriano for the Blue Jays.
Odorizzi talking to Rocco Baldelli, the first base coach. A young Rocco Baldelli. His physical ailments shortened his career. A terrific talent when he was healthy. Do an awful lot of things to beat you. Really ran well, was a great hitter, good outfielder, strong arm.
Yep.
He did it all.
Martin drives the ball deep left field, off the wall on the fly, heading for second and in there with a double.
Finally, the Blue Jay fans have something to cheer about. Just their 5th hit. First extra base hit for the Jays as Martin gets his 4th double of the season. Hits it right off the base of the wall in left. Rasmus turns and plays it on a hop and gets it back to the infield quickly, but Martin's in standing at second. Well, it looked like it had a chance to get out of here, but it had top spin and hits the base of the wall in left center.
Now Carrera. Curveball misses low for ball 1. And double for Martin snaps an 0 for 17 as Carrera comes up. And it also gets the bullpen going as right-hander Austin Pruitt is now up for the Rays.
This has been a tough section of the game for Tampa Bay. 7th and 8th, 6th, 7th and 8th, they haven't fared very well, and they don't have much of a consistent bridge to the closer, Alex Colomé.
That's going to get through for a base hit. Martin will come in to score on the single by Carrera, and the Blue Jays finally on the board, now trailing 7-1.
Correa with his second hit of the ball game picks up his 15th RBI as he gets it past the second baseman Taylor Featherston. Gets it into center. Martin, after the double, comes around to score, and the Blue Jays are finally on the scoreboard. This is why that inning, that run, top half of this inning is so big. That 7th run. Now the Blue Jays finally get on the board. That was a big run that the Tampa Bay Rays scored in the top of the inning.
Martin talking it over with hitting coach Brooks Jacoby as he makes his way back to the dugout. And it looks like that's going to be all. Kevin Cash, the manager, on his way to the mound. And there's the signal. Second time in as many big league starts that Jake Faria goes 6 1/3. Impressive performance for the 23-year-old.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Honda Rebel. Live your life. Love your ride.
Evening here in Toronto, and the Rays leading the Blue Jays 7-1, bottom of the 7th. Jake Faria, second big league start. Just about as impressive as the first one. In line for a win if the bullpen can do its job. And the Blue Jays will try to prevent that from happening. Here's Austin Pruitt, who, look at some big numbers, Buck. He's given up 39 hits in 24 2/3 innings.
But he's 5-1. And when he does give it up, he gives it up in a hurry. 358 right-handers are hitting. 340 left-handers are hitting. And he's a fastball, curveball, changeup guy. He'll throw an occasional slider, but not very often.
Ryan Goins, the batter. And if you're the Blue Jays, you just have to be happy that Faria is out of the game. Didn't have any success with him. And the Blue Jays well aware of the numbers that have plagued the Tampa Bay bullpen this year. How much trouble they've had in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings. Good movement there, and it's 0-2.
Pruitt, we mentioned he is making his 16th appearance of the season, but he doesn't come into innings often with runners on. He's had just 4 base runners inherited, so they like to use him with him starting clean innings. That's not the case, and you can see he's retired 3 of the 4, but they just as soon start him with a fresh inning. Ryan Goins has done a terrific job this season hitting with runners on base. It seems as though his focus is very keen when he's got runners on. And he's done a nice job of picking up the RBIs when he has runners in scoring position. But Goins with runners on a 291 average. Nobody on, 157. It's interesting how his focus narrows when he's got base runners on.
Well, he's talked about, he doesn't know if he's a guy who will play once a week or 5 times a week, and he wants to make the most of his opportunity. So especially when he's got a chance to do some damage, he's going to go up there hacking.
Big thing for him right now is to get on base, turn the lineup over, get those big bats up there with a couple on.
Well, if the Blue Jays are looking for a reason to maybe think positive about this, Detroit was down 6-0 to Arizona tonight. Zach Greinke was on the mound for the Diamondbacks, and the Tigers just scored 6 in the 6th to tie it and knock Greinke out of the game. JD Martinez with a home run, his 11th.
There are a lot of contending teams that have bullpen issues. And the Nationals come to mind first and foremost, as they have been giving up runs late in games almost on a regular basis.
Ground ball, weakly hit towards short. Only play is to first to get Goins. 2 down as Carrera takes second. How about Dusty Baker last night? Not basically saying, here's what he said: we need some help, and we've known that for a long time. I mean, he's basically saying to his, whether it's his general manager or ownership, go get some help for the bullpen.
Yeah, and that's the most demoralizing thing a team can go through, is when you do everything right and your starter gives you a good effort, your offense puts up a lot of runs on the scoreboard, and then your bullpen coughs up leads late in games. Last night they lost it in the 8th and 9th inning, and it turned out to be an 11-10 loss. You score 10 runs, you should be able to win just about every night.
Kevin Pillar fouls it back. Cody Bellinger has hit another home run for the Dodgers. The rookie has 16 now. The Dodgers back on top of Cleveland 3-2 with Clayton Kershaw on the mound. He's through 7.
Well, the Dodgers have had some run of promoting young star players the last couple of years, and Corey Seager at short, Jock Peterson, now Corey Bellinger.
Fly ball to right field, and that's the inning. Blue Jays get 1, but that's all. End of 7, and the Rays lead the Jays 7-1. Game tonight, the AL East leading New York Yankees will be out in Anaheim to take on the Los Angeles Angels, and you can see it tonight on Sportsnet 1.
Interesting trip out west for Aaron Judge. He was raised in Central California. He is 9 for his last 12 and homered in 3 straight games. His mom and dad were at the game on Monday night. They'll be at all 7 Yankee games on the West Coast. This is Jason Grilli making his 23rd appearance of the season, and he got off to a rough start, starting to throw the ball much better of late, and now he's trying to come out here and put up a couple zeros if possible.
Really the 4th pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays after Estrada, Leone, and Beliveau We'll work to the 8, 9, and 1 hitters in the Rays lineup here in the 8th inning. Derek Norris, Taylor Featherston, and then back to the top of the order from Alex Smith. Norris is 0 for 3. Blue Jays with an off day yesterday, got another one coming up Thursday before the White Sox get here for the weekend. And then back out on the road, as Buck mentioned, they will head to Arlington to take on the Rangers. A 4-game series with the Rangers next week, and then 3 in Kansas City, and then back home for a Baltimore-Boston homestand. Before series against the Yankees and Astros take the Blue Jays into the All-Star break.
Did Norris just think he struck out?
I think he did.
It looked like it, didn't it? He swung at that high pitch and started walking toward the dugout. I don't know if his momentum was just taking him there, but he took 3 or 4 steps across home plate. Aaron Sanchez had a little throwing session today, and hopefully all went well, and he's still a ways away. He's going to have a couple at least rehab starts before he gets back with the Blue Jays.
They're hoping to get him on a mound later this week for the first time, see how that goes.
Frustrating season for Aaron. Something as insignificant as a blister certainly becomes significant for a pitcher as he suffers that blister right on his middle finger.
Especially coming off the kind of year that he had last year.
Yeah, he was all fired up to have another season to back that up. He won the ERA crown in American League. Had a great first full season as a starter. Was looking forward to another strong season, and then he was derailed by a blister of all things.
Three-two again. Maybe it's just momentum.
Yeah. You know, talking about that Yankee game coming up, the Aaron Judge has played 59 games. And at this point of the season, his stats are comparable to Babe Ruth in 1927 and Roger Maris in 1961. All 3 of those players had 22 home runs through 59 games played this seasons.
And his batting average, and that's all the other stats are more Ruth than Maris, right?
Yes, he's had a phenomenal start to his season.
Into left field, that's a base hit for Norris. If the season ended today, Aaron Judge is probably American League MVP.
And Rookie of the Year.
Well, I would hope he would win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Only been done twice before, Fred Lynn and Ichiro.
Ichiro, yeah. No, his batting average, 347. Maris through 59 games. He had a great finish. He was hitting just 238. And Ruth, through 59 games, was hitting 343. So Judge had a better batting average of both of those guys through 59 games of those historic seasons.
And it's not just fans who are fascinated with Aaron Judge. Players are as well. Players on other teams, Blue Jays and everybody else that the Yankees play, talk about him, want to meet him, watch batting practice, try to figure out how they would pitch to him. He's been as big a story as there is in baseball.
Yeah, he sure has. And the home run he hit Sunday in New York, it was ridiculous. It's 490-some feet, way over the seats in left. It's been unbelievable what he has done. And the reason last year is he struck out half the time he came to the plate.
Right. Literally, 84 at bats, 42 strikeouts for the Yankees last year.
Yeah, he's done a great job and a terrific kid. Easy to root for.
I think he leads the majors in signing autographs too before games. He
Sure
does it every single day.
I spoke to him about that when they were here at Rogers Center, and I said, Aaron, I really admire what you do on the field, but I admire what you do off the field more. You sign autographs, you take pictures with kids. He kneels down to take pictures with little kids. He says, hey, it comes with the job. What a refreshing attitude.
Back to the mound. To second one. Nicely done. Really to Tulowitzki and back to first.
Boy, you talk about experience. Jason Grilli threw that ball before Tulowitzki was even close to second, but he lobbed it right over the base. And that's experience for you. Watch his reaction. Look where Tulowitzki is. Jason turns and fires, said he'll get there. He just lobs a perfect strike. Tulo kicks the bag and throws to first.
That's pretty slick.
That is very slick. A couple of veterans doing their thing.
So 2 down and back to the top of the order from Alex Smith. 1 for 4. A base hit and 3 strikeouts. .20 on the way, and a little bit high, ball 3.
Dan, you mentioned the draft is ongoing, and yesterday with the 4th pick overall, Tampa Bay took Brendan McKay from the University of Louisville. The significance of that is McKay is a 3-time John Olerud Award winner, which is given to the best two-way player in the country. And of course, John Olerud came directly from Washington State University to the major leagues with the Blue Jays.
But I think when and he could do either, maybe even both to a certain level. I think when they announced him, I think they drafted him as a first baseman.
Right.
There's another young man, Hunter Green, who's gotten a lot of attention. Went 2nd overall to Cincinnati. Pitcher shortstop. Cincinnati announced that they had drafted him as a pitcher, but you got to believe that both of these kids, at least in the minors, would love a chance to play both ways.
Well, of course, the big two-way player that's on everybody's radar now is Ohtani from Japan.
Yeah.
A 22-year-old right-handed pitcher and a left-handed slugger.
High fly ball to left field. Still going back. Carrera got room, and that's the inning. Going to bottom 8, 7-1 Rays. Time now for an update again. Here are Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio. Another terrific performance for rookie Jake Faria in just his 2nd major league start.
Yeah, Faria grew up an Angels fan in Orange County, California, and he's been anxious for these 2 starts. Major league debut last time out, and he backed it up with another good performance. 6 1/3, 6 hits The only extra base hit was a Russell Martin double. And then he gave up an RBI single, was knocked out of the game. But look at the walks and strikeouts. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, and he has been impressive in his 2 major league starts.
Austin Pruitt still on the mound, got a couple of outs in the 7th inning. He'll face Donaldson, a Bautista, and a Morales. Bullpen quiet for the Rays as we move to the bottom of the 8th. And a base hit. Donaldson now 2 for 4.
Buy 6 cans of Beauty Tone paint and get the 7th free. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts.
So Josh Donaldson continues to swing a hot bat as we welcome you back inside Rogers Center, bottom 8. The Blue Jays looking to mount a major comeback here against the Rays. They've got the leadoff man on here in the 8th inning for Jose Bautista. A couple of strikeouts and a walk. Runner being held on. The other 3 infielders in the shift on the left side. So again, a gaping hole on the right side of the infield. A strike, 2-1.
Well, Jose has the ability to hit the ball the other way, and he just doesn't do it very often. But he's got 9 hits to right field, and there's a huge hole, as Dan mentioned. He needs to be on base and take a shot there, but you can't hit that inside pitch to right. He's looking for something out over the plate.
Hits it well to left, and a leaping catch made out there by Colby Rasmus.
Well, we have mentioned how well Rasmus had played in left field, and there's another good example of it. Is Blue Jay played center field, but in left field, his center field skills really help him out. That looked like it was going to be a double all the way. A hard hit liner. It was hooking away from Rasmus, and Bautista hit it right on the barrel, and Rasmus extends and uses that big long body to take an extra base hit away from Bautista. He has played very well, and in the outfield, he's got 6 outfield assists.
Looks like he's found a home in Tampa Bay. Here's Kendrys Morales, who's 0 for 3. Cubs continue to pour it on at Citi Field, up 12-1 on the Mets. Washington's got a lead, 9-5. Going to the bottom of the 8th against Atlanta. See if the Nationals bullpen can hang on and get a W there. Red Sox still tied with the Phillies, 3-3 bottom 8. Orioles now trailing the White Sox 2-1 mid-6. And as we mentioned, a game you can see on Sportsnet 1 a little bit later on. The Yankees are in Anaheim tonight.
Alec Asher is on the mound for the Orioles in Chicago against Derek Holland. And Holland, once again, he has had a pretty decent season, considering not many people considered he was going to be an addition to this ball club. He's 4-6 with a ERA just under 4.
Out of play.
It's really interesting how different teams pitch Morales. The last road trip out west, they were pounding him in, pounding him in, pounding him in. Now against Tampa Bay, everything is away. So that's why it's so important to make sure you look at all the video and make sure you look at your past at bats against particular teams, because they're going to be distinctly different in how they pitch you.
Two on the way, and a curveball, swing and a miss to get him 2 down.
That's one thing that has been fairly constant lately for Morales. They've thrown him a lot of curveballs. Breaking balls have come down and in to him, and He hasn't been able to make that adjustment and either look for them, pull them, hit them hard. But when it's down and in, he really has gotten a steady diet of this pitch, especially with 2 strikes.
Big breaker there for out number 2. Looks like it'll be Aaron Loup working the top of the 9th. Justin smoked the batter, 1 for 3, had a base hit back in the 4th inning. He gets a breaking ball, fouls it off. John Gibbons was talking before the game. We mentioned this off the top of the show. He's still waiting for all aspects of the team to come together at the same time. As well as they've done to get back near the 500 mark. They're 13-6 in their last 19. Offense, pitching, defense, all to come together at the same time. And it seems when a couple of guys get hot in the lineup, a couple of other guys who were hot cool off.
Yeah, and now the starters are starting to throw the ball more consistently. Jay Happ's getting a few more innings under his belt coming off the DL. So, yeah, it's been mix and match. Marcus Stroman has been consistent all season long. He's really done a great job. Picked up his 7th win. Look at Smoke. He can still swing it, man.
Second hit of the night. And Donaldson will come around to 3rd.
Well, you can see Pruitt has given up some hard contact in this inning. Bautista hit a rope that Rasmus had to jump for to make a catch on. There's that circle change, and you can see why they call it a circle change. Ball moves down and away, but Smoke's all over it. Takes it right back up the middle and center for his 2nd hit of the night.
Boy, she's done a great job taking the ball up the middle and the other way this year.
You know, you can hit like that when you are confident that you're strong enough to hit it out of the ballpark. He had 2 long home runs in Oakland to the opposite field, batting as a left-handed hitter. So he understands now that you don't have to pull everything to hit it hard. And because of that, he's not chasing a lot of pitches that are out of the strike zone.
So runners on the corners with 2 down for Troy Tulowitzki. Blue Jays looking to make this interesting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2 lows, 1 for 3, had a base hit back in the 2nd. Little up and in for ball 1. Bullpen is quiet for Tampa Bay.
We really haven't seen Troy Tulowitzki get into that groove that he does so often, where he'll get, 3 hits a night, couple hits, couple extra base hits. His timing is just off a fraction. He has been clutch this season. 8 hits have led to 13 runs with runners in scoring position. But that's another aspect that John Gibbons was talking about. The team hasn't hit on all cylinders just yet. Everybody in baseball wants to panic. The team gets off to a slow start. Remember, they started talking about who the Blue Jays were going to trade in April. But you just have to be patient, and I think John did a great job in April to not listen to the noise and say these guys are going to hit. They're going to have their ups and downs, but they've got a track record, and they're always going to end up somewhere 10% of where they normally are.
Well, and in all likelihood, the next 3 to 4 weeks leading up to the All-Star break will determine whether or not the Blue Jays are in it or not, and really whether or not Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins think they're in it or not. Do they go out and try to get some help, or if things don't go well, do they look in a different direction?
Right, and I think now that the draft is in day 2 and it'll be completed tomorrow, the focus will turn back toward the Major League Ball Club with all eyes on it, trying to figure out what to do, which approach is best. And it's just going to be an interesting month or so before that July trade deadline.
The bases are now loaded. Kevin Cash is on the phone. They'll get somebody up in the bullpen. Still a 6-run lead for Tampa Bay, but one swing of the bat from Russell Martin could change that in a hurry.
They had a good swing of the bat last time. He hit a double off the base of the wall, came around to score the first Blue Jays run. Jim Hickey out again. And remember the Bautista line drive to left. I mean, he smoked that ball. Rasmus had to use extra effort to make the grab, and this has not been a matter of the Blue Jays not being overmatched, because they have hit the ball hard this inning. Donaldson, Bautista, Smoke, and now Tulowitzki walks, and this is the last at bat by Martin. He hit one just to the base of the wall in left center. Ball came off his bat really well, and now he's got that fresh in his mind for this important at bat. Tommy Hunter, the big hard-throwing right-hander, and the youngster Jose Alvarado. He throws hard, upper 90s with the fastball.
And they're getting ready in a hurry. Bases loaded, 2 down, 7-1, bottom 8. Pruitt facing Martin. Called strike, and it's 0-1. Martin overall 1 for 3 with that double and run scored an inning ago, hitting .220 on the season. Boy, Logan Morrison, the first baseman, was about 20 feet to his right from where he was, and he was talking to Featherston, the second baseman, almost like he was trying to tell him what to do. Then he retreated hard to his left.
What he was doing was he was trying to free up Malik Smith's vision of the batter, because Featherston was standing right in front of him. You see how Smith is still moving around in center, trying to get a clear look at Russell Martin. The umpire and the second baseman are in his eyesight.
And Featherston playing in the right spot. That will end the inning. The Blue Jays will leave them loaded. We're at the end of 8 at Rogers Center, and Tampa Bay still leads 7-1. Telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Tampa Bay up 7-1 on the Blue Jays going to the top of the ninth. Blue Jays just had a great chance to cut into it a little bit, but left the bases loaded at bottom 8. And the 5th pitcher of the night for the Jays is lefty Aaron Loup.
Aaron Loup in this situation, he's going to face a left-handed hitter in Dickerson, then a righty Longoria, and Logan Morrison, another lefty. And I think John Gibbons wants to give Loup a couple of lefties to see if he could prove his numbers against the left-handers. They're hitting .306 against him. And Loup has had no problem with the righties, but it's been the left-handers that he's come in to face one left-hander. That guy gets a base hit and he's out of the game. So they're trying to give him a couple more bats against lefties to see if he can improve his situation against those left-handed hitters.
And here comes the first one, and Corey Dickerson, who's 3 for 4 tonight.
Dickerson's had 2 4-hit games this season. May 14th at Boston against the Red Sox, and May 28th at Minnesota against the Twins.
First pitch swinging. Dickerson hits it a mile to right center field, up into the second deck for a home run.
Not exactly what John Gibbons had on his mind, and Dickerson, what a season he has put together. His 15th home run, his 3rd 4-hit game of the season. He is 4 for 5, 3 singles and a homer. And you talk about a season. And he said, I just wanted to be Corey Dickerson. He said, I wanted to clear my mind of everything else. And you can see it's a first pitch changeup. He has hit changeups all night long. That one is out over the plate. He got a couple changeups off of Marco Estrada. Hits that high changeup into the second deck. Dickerson's hitting with so much confidence. You can see how he clears his mind about what he wants to do. He says, okay, this guy's probably going to throw me a pitch away. So you stay back a little bit, and that allows him to get to the changeup. He's really in a good spot right now.
American League leader in both hits and extra base hits. 4 for 5 with a home run tonight. Evan Longoria, the batter. He's 2 for 3 with a walk. He's driven in a couple of runs. Now the Blue Jays will hope for better things from Francisco Liriano tomorrow night. And they will have Barnes, Tepera, Smith, Osuna. I mean, barring something crazy happening here the rest of this one, they'll have those guys rested and ready. Again, this is the 6th time where a win would have brought the Blue Jays to the 500 mark. They have not been 500 at any point this season. And it looks like, barring a huge comeback, they will drop to 0-6 in those games this year. Ball 4.
And now Luke will face another lefty in Logan Morrison. And as you mentioned, Dan, they don't want to go any deeper into their bullpen to keep some arms. So they're going to have to hope Luke can handle Logan Morrison, who's had another good night against the Jays. A 3-run home run and a single in 4 at-bats.
Nobody is up. This is Loop's inning unless it really gets out of hand. DeMarlo Hale moving the infielders around.
Tampa Bay has 16 hits. That's their second highest hit total of the season. They had 18 hits in that game against the Twins, but that was a 15-inning game. Won that one 8-6.
Soft liner to Tulowitzki, 1 down. Donaldson makes his way back across the infield. It was normal spot at third base, and now Luke will face Steven Souza Jr. 2 for 4, a couple of base hits and a couple of fly ball outs.
This is the 11th game that Tampa Bay has played against the Blue Jays, and they've hit 3 home runs in this game. That gives them 15 home runs in 11 games. It's the most home runs they've hit against any club. It's also the most games they've played against one club. They have 10 home runs against the Yankees in 9 games. They have 10 home runs against the Indians in 3 games.
Whoa.
And 10 home runs against the Red Sox in 7.
After this series, the Blue Jays and the Rays don't meet again until August. They'll have a 4-game series here in Toronto middle of the month and a 3-game series down in St. Petersburg toward the end of the month, and then that'll be all.
Yeah, they played a 4-game series, the second series of the season on the road in St. Pete to start the season. Coach Archer is doing his best to get Jake Odorizzi ready for tomorrow's start.
Life's pretty good, huh?
Life's pretty good for their pitching staff. And they've always been like that. You know, you go back to David Price and Jeremy Hellickson and James Shields, and Jim Hickey does a nice job of creating some really intense camaraderie among his pitchers.
we talk about players who give back. We were talking about Aaron Judge and what he's done signing autographs, young fans, and the responsibility he feels. Chris Archer's another guy who feels he has a responsibility to give back, does a ton of charitable work and a ton of speaking engagements with children's groups. And I don't mean in the Tampa Bay area. I mean in every visiting city that the Rays go to, and you and I are going to be part of an event that he'll be at tomorrow.
Yeah, and he does such a great job. He reaches out to the ball clubs and said, hey, is there any group that I could speak to, children, RBI group, inner city kids, whatever I could do to help young kids, and he's done a terrific job of that.
Yep, it'll benefit the Jays Care Foundation, the event that we will be at tomorrow for lunch. Tulowitzki to second to force the lead runner. They'll get Longoria. Souza aboard in the fielder's choice.
But tomorrow Archer has a full day. He's going to join us for lunch. He has a bullpen side session. The team will play the game, and then they will travel after the game. But he's been very accommodating and great to work with.
2 down in the inning, and here's the third left-handed batter that Loop will face this inning, Colby Rasmus, who's had a very productive night. Single, a double, a sac fly, a nice catch out and left. Rays 8, Blue Jays 1. Tampa Bay got 4 in the third. Home runs by Taylor Featherston and Logan Morrison. They added 2 more in the fourth on a double by Evan Longoria. And the Blue Jays couldn't get much going at all against rookie Jake Faria.
The Rays have now hit 102 home runs for the season. And Dan mentioned earlier, they've reached 100 quicker than they ever have in their franchise history.
And a win tonight moves them 3 games over the 500 mark.
I think there's going to be a lot of movement in baseball all around for teams that are in contention. You know, there are no perfect teams. Even the Houston Astros and their great record, they have concerns. They've got 2 starters on the disabled list now. Colorado, they're always looking to improve their situation. So I think there's going to be a lot of movement.
Loop strikes out Rasmus to end the inning. We'll go bottom 9. Blue Jays coming up. Blue Jays and Rays will wrap up this quick 2-game series tomorrow night. Jake Odorizzi for the Rays and left-hander Francisco Liriano will be on the mound for the Blue Jays. Looking to get deeper into the game than he's been able to get this season.
Liriano will be going for his 100th career win tomorrow. He picked up his 99th win a couple starts ago, and he's looking to match Jake Odorizzi, who's had a 5-2 record for his career against the Blue Jays. Short 2-game series.
Bottom 9 at Rogers Center. Austin Pruitt back on the mound for the Rays. Tampa Bay up 8-1. Ezekiel Carrera leads it off 2 for 3. And he has driven in the only run of the night for the Blue Jays. He'll be followed by Ryan Goins and then Kevin Pillar. Phillies and Red Sox have gone to extra innings at Fenway, tied at 3. Baltimore's now fallen behind the White Sox 6-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. The pitching issues continue for the Orioles, who have lost 5 in a row. Yankees are underway in Anaheim. Again, you can see it on Sportsnet 1 after the conclusion of this game. They're scoreless bottom 1 with the Angels.
They didn't hit any home runs?
They didn't hit any home runs in the top of the first. Which means Aaron Judge didn't hit a home run. He struck out. Still hitting .346.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting team to keep your eye on. And you know, they have Gleyber Torres, who they have moved around the plate a little bit of third base down in AAA. He's a young prospect they picked up in one of those trades they made last year, and he's a good-looking player. I asked Joe Girardi about it. I said, would you pull a Manny Machado and bring him up second half of the season and put him at third base if Chase Headley continues to struggle? He says it's been considered.
They're kind of ahead of schedule on a few different fronts right now. 38-23. Goins on deck.
Tell you, another youngster to keep your eye on is Chance Adams, a right-handed pitcher, just 22 years old, pitching in AAA.
Swing and a miss, 1 down. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central, here are Ken Reed and Jackie Redmond. All right, guys, looking forward to that. Blue Jays down to their final couple of outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Ryan Goins is 0 for 3. Nice play by Pruitt, backhanded stop. Now the Blue Jays are down to their final out. Well, I think Blue Jays fans, if Tampa Bay got moved to the other league, I think Canadians would be all in favor of that. I think that would be a unanimous vote up here.
Yeah, when you really look at their record since 2008, American League teams against any divisional opponents, the Rays are going to go 107-70 against the Blue Jays, and that's the second best winning percentage for any American League team against a divisional rival.
This should do it, and it does, as Pillar grounds out, and Tampa Bay takes the opener with a 2-game set by a score of 8-1. They hit 3 homers, including a 3-run shot from Logan Morrison. Jake Faria, his second big league start and his second major league win. And smiles all around for the Rays as they go to 3 games under 500. And Buck, again, the Blue Jays have a chance to get to the 500 mark, and again, they can't do it.
Yeah, they're coming off a series win against the Mariners out west, and everybody was anxious to get back home and see if they can't continue that, get to 500 and then see where they are. But the Tampa Bay Rays, 8 runs on 16 hits, 3 more home runs, and a big night for Corey Dickerson and Logan Morrison.
So we will see you again tomorrow night for the finale of this quick series, Liriano and Odorizzi. But first time now for Sportsnet Central, let's send you to Ken Reed and Jackie Redmond.